Simmons, the highest paid safety in the NFL. He'll get a 4-year deal worth $61 million. About $35 million of it will be guaranteed.
With no fees or minimums on checking and savings accounts, and an app that lets you bank anytime, anywhere, choosing Capital One is like the easiest decision in the history of decisions. That's banking reimagined. What's in your wallet? Terms apply. Capital One N.A. member FDIC.
Broadcasting live from the ESPN 690 Anajar and Levine studios.
This is Action Sports Jacks on ESPN 690 with Brent Martineau and Austin Lane.
Oh, what a way to start off the NCAA Tournament 2021. Did you miss it a year ago? You bet you did. And your bracket's all set. No way you can bust it this early on a Friday afternoon in round one of the NCAA Tournament. Remember now, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday instead of the typical Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Heck, even had some good first 4 games last night. Those were terrific. And then to get it going, the Gators just beat Virginia Tech 75-70 in overtime. It was a heck of a game. Trey Mann with a dagger 3. Colin Castleton very good in the second half. They wouldn't win that game without him. Appleby, that laceration around his forehead, if you didn't catch it, he got an elbow to the forehead and missed that second half. But what a game it was for Florida, and Mike White gets another first-round win. And then if you chalk things up, it looks like Ohio State's next for the 7th-seeded Gators. That one will be even more difficult. Virginia Tech, though, Matthew Driscoll said yesterday, good basketball team. That's a good win for the Florida Gators, especially since they were reeling coming into the NCAA tournament a little bit. What about Florida State? We'll talk about them. They are the 4 seed. They'll go at it tomorrow. What about your bracket? We'll look as our show goes on. Utah State toying with a little bit of an upset. Colgate gave Arkansas a run early on, but then Arkansas pulls away and wins handily. So we'll keep you posted on the update. I'm sure you're either watching or paying attention to the scores and, of course, paying attention to your bracket. But it's early in the 2021 NCAA tournament. So one eye on that, one ear on us. Why not, right? Let's watch it all together and have some fun on a Friday in March. March Madness is back, and we know how important that is to the NCAA and to all the colleges. The handsome payout they get because of the tournament is a big one. That's big for UNF. That's big for JU. That's big for schools all across the entire country. Urban Meyer up early. Breakfast with Urban today. Urban Meyer talking to the media about free agency in the last week, and it's been a flurry all the way since last Tuesday when they franchise tagged Cam Robinson, who has now signed that tag. Good for him. Smart move by him, I believe. And now he gets a chance to parlay that maybe into a big contract if he can have a really successful 2021. But then all the moves made Monday, Tuesday, the re-signing of some players, talking about 17 transactions. And Urban Meyer talked about some of those. We've now heard from a lot of the players, a lot of the new players that are with the Jacksonville Jaguars. We'll even get some more of those on Monday. So this has been a fun week to be a Jacksonville Jaguars fan, and this thing lines up to now set up for the April draft. That's where things are going to shift. You could still get a free agent signing here or there, a move made, a trade, whatever it might be. But we're lining up for the NFL draft now. Trevor Lawrence number 1, and then what happens with the other picks, the Jacksonville Jaguars, will be interesting to watch. Brent Martineau with a heck of a backdrop today, folks. We got a little getaway, a little vacation with the kids and Steph down at her in-laws. They hang out down in Southwest Florida for a few months, down from Ohio. And we're doing our show with the Gulf in the background. So if you haven't had a chance to, go check us out on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch, and just at least take in the scene for a moment. I don't know what it looks like in the Action Sports Shack studios. Heck, I don't even know if Austin Lane is back yet. Had to run and get his headphones. He's got 2 gigs now. He's got a morning gig, an afternoon gig. You might have to get 2 sets of headphones, Austin Lane.
What up, man? Yeah, I probably should in the long run. I should probably get a set of headphones that actually works, where the earpiece isn't falling off. Or I have to
Maybe I should buy you that.
Every single. No, it's all right, man. Actually, I was scouting some new headphones today, so I think I found some that I like. So I'm probably going to purchase a new pair eventually. Here, you know how I am, man. I can take a long time to do things, but I'm going to get a new pair eventually. You know, to me, obviously, it's the NCAA tournament. It just feels right. You're going to have my undivided attention for maybe 10 minutes in the show, and then I'm going to be watching YouTube TV the entire time. It is what it is, but I'll try to keep up to date with you as much as possible. But the Urban Meyer press conference today, I'll be honest, I leave Urban Meyer press conferences now, and I think like, Like that was pretty cool that he shared that, or
Yes.
He was really transparent in that. And I found myself doing that now after every single one of his press conferences. I didn't think he was going to play it this way, especially his first year in the NFL. But I'll be honest, I appreciate it. I think where you have a league where most coaches keep things close to the chest and don't want to disclose anything, I think Urban Meyer's actually doing the exact opposite, and he's keeping people, he's not going to divulge everything, but I think he's doing a great job of keeping people in the loop and kind of making the fans a part of it, if you will.
Yeah, I think it's worth repeating again, and you just said it, and I'm glad you were picking that up. Listen, I've been in the media now for 20 years. You're not technically this homegrown media guy, And so when you see that, and you can feel that, and I think the fans are feeling the same thing, I think that's very valuable. And you're right. We've talked about this a long time, and I always say this. I appreciated this about Gus Bradley and Dave Caldwell, too. I think they were pretty transparent. They're like, come on, how many secrets are really out there? There are some things you have to be quiet on. I get it. But there's been this long belief over time for me that it's like the NFL is the CIA, man. I mean, what do they have hidden? How smart can these people really be? How hard is it really to play football? How many secrets can you have about what you're going to do on a Sunday afternoon? And it has that feel to it. College football does too as well. I think the college football clamp down is, one, because you can control more, but two, because the NCAA is a giant pain in the butt, and if any little thing gets out, even if you're not knowing you're breaking rules, you might be breaking rules. So I kind of see it in the college game. The NFL game needs more transparency, and I love what the Jacksonville Jaguars are doing right now, and I credit Urban Meyer. He is bringing the fan in, man. He's not shying away from just certain things like, hey, we're going to make the Jag logo a big deal. He's got his mantra of own it. He says the 904. I think he's going to be fine with everybody still saying Duval. He's not even afraid to say, hey, we got no state income tax, and that's going to be a benefit to us. Like, he continues to bring that up. So he's bringing things up that we just haven't heard a lot of coaches in the NFL say and do, and I like it. And I think the fans like it a lot. I think they should like it a lot. And there should be a level of appreciation for that because it brings you in. It engages you. And you get an idea of what they're doing without this cloak of secrecy around it. And then at the end result, you're like, you know what? People don't mind secrecy, Austin. They don't mind, like Bill Belichick not saying what is going on if you end up with Lombardi trophies. But if you're so secret and you end up 3-13 on average for a decade, oh, what the heck? At least engage the fans, invite the fans in. I love what Urban Meyer's doing. I'm glad you brought that up. And once again, he's very transparent, and maybe even transparent to a fault. Did you hear what he said about Josh Oliver today? Where he's like, hey, basically, I don't really know the guy very well. This one was on the personnel department. They thought this was a good move. I signed off on it, and that was it. I kind of was like, ugh, I don't know about that, man.
Yeah.
Can we all just see him?
No,
can we get a little more intel on him? So there might be times that he becomes so transparent that we can almost be critical of him. And the more that happens, by the way, the more he will, or the less he will be transparent. But that's how transparent he's been through the first couple of weeks.
Well, and that's what I can appreciate. It's the fact that he's being transparent in how he's handling this process and what is going into this process. I thought he was very telling when he basically came out and said he doesn't like how the NFL does it, where he can't meet players and take them out to dinner anymore. And essentially this is going to go, they vet the free agents on hearsay, on third parties who really have no skin in the game. I think he used that exact phrase. That to me was really telling a lot because, it's not something I've really thought of before, but you have a guy in Urban Meyer who it's always been the Urban Meyer show wherever he's been. And now you have a guy who essentially I feel like is putting more stake and more trust in the guys that he's surrounded himself with just because he can't control everything. He can't meet with these free agents right now. He has to go off of what the coordinators say. He has to go off of what all the position coaches say and what everybody around the league says. So there's a lot more of a trust factor there. So what I can appreciate about Urban Meyer right now is like, we're watching him grow as a coach right before our eyes because now he's got to change his personality a little bit and he's got to change his approach of how he's always done things. He has to surrender a little control. He's still the head coach and everything, but when we evaluate talent and when he's bringing free agents in, he has to rely on the help of a lot more people set aside from his own judgment. I think that's very telling.
Hey, does he have a point there, by the way? The more you think about it, I think he does. It's like you're going to go spend all this money, however much they just shelled out. And let's just say, hey, Austin Lane, I'd love you to come down, be on ESPN 690, be my co-host. But I've never met you. You seem like a cool guy. I think we could talk sports. Here's $45 million over the next 5 years. I'm not doing that. Like, I want to meet you. I want to see what you're all about. I want to get your thoughts. I want to take you to dinner. I want to see what your plans are long term. I want to see if you're going to fit what we're doing. I mean, he's got a really good point there. I mean, I get the free agent frenzy, and to be honest with you, I love it. Like, it's awesome from a viewing standpoint. But internally, it's already a dangerous business. It's a dangerous side of things in the football world. It's risky. And all this money being thrown at guys, and you can't even wine and dine them a little bit, or you can't even at least give them a phone call and have a conversation because it's so fast and furious. I don't know if there's something the NFL could do about that. But if I was an owner, I'd want to switch that around. I'm the one that's shelling out all my money for a guy that might not even fit in my program, but I have to take a chance because it's a position of need.
Set aside from how you feel about the salary cap, whether you think it's real or not, that it is what it is. But money is still important in the NFL. When I say money is still important, the owners love to save some here or there. We've heard Urban Meyer use the verbiage value a lot in his press conferences, so that tells you something right there. And when we talk about value, how do you get value? How do you evaluate a prospect and set a price tag on him? Well, it's almost like you have to give him a trial run. Whether it's you sit down with him, get his mindset about what he thinks about the game of football, how he operates, how he learns, what type of person he is. Those are all things that can go into, does this player have value or not? When you can't do that, when you essentially have to ask around the league, hey, what do you think about this guy? What do you think about that guy? To me, it's madness. It's absolutely ludicrous because if you take daily life and say that you want to purchase a car or something like that, what are you going to do with that car? You're going to go test drive it first to make sure you like it, to make sure it works for you. That's in daily life. And the fact that we're talking about millions and millions and millions of dollars for contracts and you can't even really meet the guy in person before you sign him, yeah, that's probably not right, and that probably should change. Now, with COVID-19, obviously, maybe it's a different thing right now with the pandemic, but I'm saying once that goes away and we're back to normal, the NFL's got to take a look at themselves and say, we got to change something around here because we're talking about millions and millions and millions of dollars with these transactions, and they can't even talk to these guys in person. How do you even judge the value on somebody if you can't talk to them in person?
Well, I think you just brought up a good point. Your car analogy, too, is that it's not just about the teams. It's what about the guy signing, you know? Now, the guy signing probably has a little more intel, probably has an agent that has a client in the locker room or, you know, whatever it might be. Might already know some of the coaches. I mean, if you look what happened here, there's a lot of ties of who the Jags brought in with players, with coaches they have, from Joe Cullen to Charlie Strong, who knew like Malcolm Brown from the Texas days. You know, there seems to be a little bit of a history with a lot of these players. Not all, but a lot of them. But if you take what we both just said, it's like buyer beware, and can I take my time and wine and dine this guy, or at least have like an hour on the phone with him if we really want to make a pitch? And then you take it from the player side and be like, hey, I want to hear from that coach, right? I want to hear from what he has to say, what he's all about. Am I going to be a fit here? Am I going to like this? Because really, at the end of the day, what's the difference between $45 million and $42 million? If I'm unhappy, I'll take the 42. So it's really an interesting thing. I mean, again, I think we all love it. It's kind of awesome what went on Monday, Tuesday, and even a little bit into Wednesday. But from a player perspective, and especially the team perspective, I wouldn't be surprised with the dollars so high now, and they've really gone up over the last decade or so, that there is some kind of change to get a feel for a player. Now, that might also mean you lose out. Like, the Jags might not benefit in a situation like this. The Jags benefit in a situation where they have a lot of money, so they've got an advantage because they can throw more money at a player, and that's what's going to talk the loudest. If you listen to these players talk over the last couple of days, they are not saying, wow, yeah, man, I really liked what he had to say. I really liked what Urban said. I really like to be a part of this thing. No, they're talking about how much they're going to have in their checking account for the most part. That's priority number one. That's what got their attention. And even Urban Meyer said that. He's like, I didn't have a chance to sell these guys. I mean, I'd love to, like you do in recruiting, but I couldn't. It was basically, here's the value, here's what we got to offer, take it or leave it, boom, move on to the next guy if he turns it down.
Yeah, well, in the whole selling thing, like, eventually Urban Meyer can get to that point, though. Let's assume real quick that the rules don't change and you can't wine and dine these players, and it goes with the status quo, and it's the same thing every single year in and year out. If you start building up a tradition and a winning culture, well, that's selling it. Like, that's a selling point right there. We saw that with the Patriots. Like, you had Jonnu Smith and Hunter Henry go to the same team that doesn't necessarily have a quarterback right now. I mean, if you want to call Cam Newton the starting quarterback, so be it, but how confident are you in that? But at the same time, they understand what the Patriots organization is. They understand what Bill Belichick is. It's a winning tradition. That's what Urban Meyer's trying to do right now. That can be a selling point. Yes, money's always going to be king for the most part. Now, there's always the rare circumstances, and guys in that locker room play for different reasons. But if you build a winning tradition and a winning culture, now that's going to be another selling point as well that Urban Meyer doesn't have to worry about because the selling point will speak for itself.
That's a really good point. I mean, that does happen in college, by the way. You get to go out and recruit people, but the Gator helmet, the logo there, Alabama, Ohio State, those schools, they recruit themselves to some degree. Doesn't matter who's coaching there. It's like, hey, you got 100,000 in the swamp. I want to go play there in the SEC and have a chance to win a championship, I mean, that sells itself. So what you're saying is right. I think your example of the New England Patriots is a real good one because they have kind of recruited themselves now. I mean, the Patriots, even without Tom Brady there, the Patriots organization is known to be a winning organization over the last 2 decades. People or free agents that are 24, 25, 27 years old, they have no idea when the Patriots were terrible. All they know from their childhood, from their teenage years, from their college years, and now in their pro careers are a New England Patriots organization that has been probably the best in sports over the last 2 decades, and they want to be a part of something like that, and especially if the money's there. So that's a really good point. I think all this culture stuff that Urban Meyer talks about, you know how he mentions the emblem, the logo, like he is going to try to sell it like that for the long term. That's not going to happen overnight. The Jags still have a stigma to them until they start winning. But when you add Trevor Lawrence, you add Urban Meyer, you add new facilities, and hopefully you add some W's, you're talking 3 years down the road, Austin, where this could be a very appealing place. And by the way, he's going to continue to throw out that no state income tax when it comes to free agents.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that, once you establish those facilities and the finest of the finest, like that's going to be the next point. And then when you have that, then you start, hopefully getting the talent to win on the field. And then when you win on the field, it's going to all take care of itself. It's going to take time. It's not going to happen overnight. It's not going to happen over 1 or 2 seasons, I think. It's going to be a slow burn and a slow build. But if you get to that point where everything's a well-oiled machine and you're winning consistently year in and year out, that's going to be the biggest difference in recruiting, quote-unquote, and bringing players in.
Brent Martineau down here in Southwest Florida. Austin Lane back in the Action Sports Shack studios. Your checkup on your bracket. The NCAA tournament, the Florida Gators kicked off the tournament with a big win, 75-70 in overtime. Excellent game. If we have more games like that in this tournament, it's going to be one heck of a few weeks for March Madness. Illinois crushes Drexel 78-49. The Dragons are out, despite a pretty good nickname. Arkansas comes back and beats Colgate. Colgate was up 11, I think, early in that game, and then Arkansas really put it on them in the second half. Ohio State is leading 21-15, obviously halfway through the first, and Texas Tech up by 12 now over Utah State. Texas Tech quietly has built a very nice program, made that run a couple years ago, and now they're up by 12 over Utah State, and they've trailed for much of that game, so they just made a run as well. I'm kind of rooting for that upset, Austin. I got Utah State. That's my first upset pick of the tournament.
Is that in the Mascot bracket or the regular bracket?
That's the regular bracket.
All right, good. Because I had somebody text me saying, "What the heck do you got Texas Tech and USC in the final for?" I'm like, "What are you talking about?" And they're like, "It's on Facebook." So I guess we posted our Mascot.
We probably did both, and people that might not have paid attention. But in my Mascot bracket, by the way, people are like, "Hey, do you know the Mountaineer is carrying a gun?" I was like, "Yeah, that was Austin." Austin went with the death match Mascot bracket. Yeah. I went with the cool Mascot bracket.
Yeah.
Cool name, and that was it. Mine was not a death march, okay? So
I mean, that's a little aggressive. It's just a cage match. Just it's a cage fight. You have to put a death march on it and make it that aggressive.
It's animalistic.
It's Thunderdome. Yeah, it's Thunderdome.
Hey, we talk more football. This Deshaun Watson situation is getting more and more bizarre and maybe more and more troublesome. We'll have a comment or two on that. We hear from some of the Jags free agents, more from Urban Meyer, and we keep you updated on your bracket. Happy Friday, everybody. Brent Martineau, Austin Lane, Action Sports Shacks on ESPN 690.
Now, the First Alert Forecast on ESPN 690. Partly to mostly sunny today. A little bit cooler but nice. High temperatures reach the low 70s, upper 60s at the coast. Partly cloudy overnight, down to near 50. From the Action News Jax First Alert Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Garrett Biedenball.
The Weather Center is brought to you by Beards Diamonds, where right now you can get 5 years, zero-interest financing with nothing down.
Smoked for hours, served in minutes. Now that sounds like good barbecue, and it is at Willie Jewell's in St. Augustine at Mirabella Crossing. Open 7 days a week. It's old school barbecue. Trivia night on Monday. Kids eat free on Wednesdays. Check out the Willie Jewell's app and catering for all events. Voted best wings in St. Augustine as well. Visit williejewels.com and visit Willie Jewell's at Mirabella Crossing in St. Augustine. Old school barbecue, smoked for hours, served in minutes at Willie Jewell's.
We should always be looking at our finances, but 2020 made my family take an even closer look, a bit more of a deeper dive, and it might have done the same for you, even into the world of retirement. Although that's a bit down the road for me, it might be closer for you, and your plan should already be under a microscope, and you have to lean on the experts to help guide the right plan. My friend Mike Lester with Talon Wealth Management is the perfect partner. He will provide a complimentary analysis and a plan for you. Call him at 904-515-5000 or visit guardingyournestegg.com. That's 904-515-5000 or guardingyournestegg.com. Mike will give you the guidance you need as retirement gets closer. He can help you convert company plans to private plans, a move that might give you higher returns and more options. You've earned the money. Now make sure you are ready for whenever retirement will be. Call Mike Lester at Talon Wealth Management, 904-515-5000. That's 904-515-5000. Or visit guardingyournestegg.com.
Got a business trip, long weekend, or maybe you just really want to try that new Toyota before you buy it? Then get it all when you rent a Toyota from Arlington Toyota. With easy online reservations and rental rates as low as $19.95 a day, there's nothing stopping you from hitting the open road. You can even rent 2021 models. Rent a Toyota from Arlington Toyota. Try it before you buy it and reserve your rental online at arlingtontoyota.com today.
Join the movement to end colon cancer. March to Get Screened is celebrating its 12th year supporting colon cancer awareness and life-saving screenings. Held on March 28th, March to Get Screened is a family affair including a 5K race, a 1-mile fun run, and fun activities for all. Safety measures will be in place as well as virtual participation options. All proceeds benefit the nonprofit Borland Groover Foundation. Register today, donate, or for more information, head to marchtogetscreened.com. That's marchtogetscreened.com.
Welcome to Moe's, and good morning at Moe's. In St. Augustine only at 312 and US 1, it's the only Moe's in the country serving breakfast burritos. Try it. You'll love it. Full breakfast menu only at the St. Augustine location. They put the fast in breakfast. Made to order in the drive-thru. Try the Homewrecker breakfast burrito. Your choice of bacon, chicken, or steak with scrambled eggs, shredded cheese, and seasoned potatoes. Served daily at 6 a.m. St. Augustine location only. Make it a better morning with Moe's.
Transmission problems? Call Action Transmission Specialists on Merrill Road, where you get the work done right the first time by the experts. I'm Robin Sidbury, the owner. Our techs can service all makes and models, and we provide a nationwide warranty, so you have the peace of mind knowing we solve your transmission troubles fairly and honestly and guaranteed nationwide. Call us at Action Transmission Specialist on Merrill Road, where quality counts. Get traction. Call Action at 744-0755.
No matter what you are driving, you can step up to luxury now at any of the Fields Auto Group dealerships in Jacksonville. Cadillac, Jaguar, Land Rover, Lexus, Mercedes-Benz, and Porsche. Yes, it's luxury for less at all Fields Auto Group locations in Jacksonville. Plus, you'll also be part of their exclusive Fields Amenities program, where you will get complimentary loaners, car washes, and cafes. So whatever you're driving, see Fields first and step up to luxury for less during this amazing opportunity. Visit fieldsauto.com.
The biggest names in sports coming to your mornings.
Cleveland Browns head coach Kevin Stefanski.
Kevin, there are so many expectations about Baker Mayfield coming into this season, but what impressed you most about him?
One of the things I love about Baker is how he works. He's a gym rat. He grinds. He wants to be great, and he understands that there's no secret. You can't snap your fingers and it just happens.
The biggest names in sports every morning with Keyshawn, J. Will, and Zubin on ESPN Radio.
Austin Lane.
I had braces. I still have my permanent retainer in. It's been knocked out twice.
Brent Martineau.
So it's not stuck in there.
No, it's not stuck in there.
Action Sports Jax on ESPN 690.
I expect them to look really big. I used to say that about the SEC. I want the SEC in the college football, the defensive lines look different. So if you look at the size of the guys, Joe Cullen is a D-line guy, and so is Tosh LaFoy, obviously. There's a reason why I hired those two coaches, too. I've always had excellent defensive line coaches, and so I listen to their expertise, but I also got a vision of what it's supposed to look like. And once again, don't put the cart before the horse and expect. I know what the expectation is, and that better be. I expect our defensive line to be one of the strengths of our team.
Well, that is Urban Meyer earlier today, and I'm talking early. Breakfast with Urban Meyer about 8 o'clock this morning when he talked to the media about free agency and what they've been doing the last few days. And I really think there's a pivot now to start really pushing ahead toward the draft. They've already been doing some of that, but I think the attention now is really toward the draft. We'll see if they make a move at tight end or something to get everybody excited. I just don't know if there's an exciting move left to make in that regard. Maybe the Ertz trade if there was something to go down there, but I just don't see anything happening that will get you too excited. And so I really feel like this is now a pivot in the next week and then going forward for the next month to the NFL draft. And we already know what's going on with Trevor Lawrence, we feel like. And again, he was on Good Morning Football. Urban Meyer was. Nothing to take away from any belief that the Jacksonville Jaguars will take Trevor Lawrence. Brent Martineau, Austin Lane here on a Friday. Hope you're doing well. We'll catch you up on the brackets and keep you posted on the games going on throughout the day. Florida Gators got a big win in overtime over Virginia Tech. Another first-round win for Mike White and the Gators 75-70. Trey Mann with a big dagger three-pointer to help win it and clinch it for the Gators. Austin, you think about one thought on the draft and Trevor Lawrence. I see this sometimes. Every time Urban talks about Trevor, and he did so on Good Morning Football, people are like, this is for all you folks that think Zach Wilson's coming to Jacksonville. Honestly, I don't find anybody that's saying Trevor Lawrence is not coming to Jacksonville. Like, is that out there, and I'm just not looking in the right spots? Are there people – I understand, like Chris Sims said, hey, I rank Zach Wilson ahead of Trevor Lawrence. Okay, got attention with that. And he also had some goofy quarterback rankings along the way that like I think it was Kellen Mond or something ahead of some of the others. But I can't find anything that says Zach Wilson is coming to Jacksonville. Has anybody even mocked that?
No, I mean, I honestly don't think so because they would lose their credentials real fast, in my opinion. I just think that when you have guys like, Sims, I think, Matt Miller might have said something as well in terms of Zach Wilson maybe being the better quarterback. Like, that's fine. You can have the opinion that Zach Wilson's a better quarterback than Trevor Lawrence. Now, you know how I feel about it, and I think I share the sentiments of a lot of Jaguars fans, but I think Trevor Lawrence is the best quarterback, hands down. Enough said. But when you do the mock draft, though, you're not doing the mock drafts of who you think the team should take. You're doing the mock draft of where I think this team needs this guy or this is who they're probably going to take. It's not necessarily your opinion. It's your opinion of who the team is going to take. And if you're a quote-unquote draft expert – and you can sit here wholeheartedly and say that Urban Meyer is going to come out of retirement, he's going to coach the Jacksonville Jaguars, and he's going to get offered this deal and everything like that and turn everything around, and he's going to take Zach Wilson over Trevor Lawrence, then you're absolutely crazy. That no one's going to subscribe to that. No one's going to give you any love. Yeah, you're going to get all the hate and maybe get some likes here or there, but it's not going to be sustainable. So that's why you don't see Zach Wilson getting mock number one, because once again, you got to take personal opinion out of it. And you got to think about what the team's going to do and what's best for the team. What's best for the Jacksonville Jaguars? It's obvious. It's Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah, and I was having this conversation last night. I emceed an event. And, by the way, first time I'd emceed anything in, like, over a year, which was wild to see actually, like, people at an event. But somebody asked me, like, well, is there any chance, like, they don't take Trevor Lawrence? And what if they think that he's not the best guy? And, well, no, there is no chance, in my opinion. And secondly, this is not the time to be the smartest guy in the room, Not when everybody believes that this guy, hands down, is the number one overall pick. I know some people are going back and forth on generational and how great he'll be, all that stuff. That's fair. Well, you can do that. But I don't think there's much back and forth, I guess, is the point of this conversation on Trevor Lawrence being the number 1 overall pick. And just run the card up there and forget it. Set it and forget it. I think the Jags have basically done that. They're doing that. Listen, this is sports. In 8 years, we might find out that Zach Wilson, or maybe it's even, Kyle Trask or Mac Jones or Trey Lance, that ends up having a better career than Trevor Lawrence. We hope not, but that could happen. I mean, that happens in sports all the time. The bottom line is you don't want to be wrong on this one. You're running up that card with Trevor Lawrence. You take the easy play here, and you hope for the best, and you hope he's as good as you think he is and everybody thinks he is. It's as simple as that. We'll talk a lot more Trevor Lawrence over the next month. Urban Meyer, talking about his front coming out of the break there, he loves this defensive line. I didn't know he would be this in love with his defensive line until I heard him this morning, Austin. He really likes what they did. Do you like what they did as much as he likes what they did?
Yeah, I mean, I talked about it a little bit on yesterday. They've added size. They've added size and they've added depth. Those are two things that you need when you want to try to stop the run, and that's what this team needs to do in this division. So, yeah, I absolutely love it. We'll see if they address it anymore in the draft. I'm not looking for a first-round pick anymore on Christian Barmore. If they get him, so be it, but it's not like I'm pounding the table now for an interior defensive lineman early on in the draft. I like the experience. I like the type of guys who seem to be tough-nosed, physical football players. And I like the fact that, it's going to transition into a 3-4 defense, which I've been calling for a long time now. Yeah, and I mean, that is so obvious based on what they did. And the beef is really where it's at when you talk about this front. You're not talking about multiple Pro Bowl guys. I mean, you're not talking about stars in the league. You're not talking about the biggest of name players. Now, there's investment in some of these young guys that they think could be very good. That's part of free agency. That's part of what they've done. But they like the combination of size and athleticism on that front. They really think they've gotten a lot better. And let's be perfectly blunt here. They better be better because the last 2 years I don't really feel like they've been that bad up front. They just haven't produced up front. Like, I didn't mind their roster at times, Austin, but they didn't get it done. And now whether that was the second level or it was all the guys up front or they just didn't have enough depth, whatever it might be, a lot of people put on a guy like David Bryan. They did not get it done against the run. This defense is going to get it done against the run. It looks like so much confidence that Urban Meyer is already putting expectations on them and saying we'll be one of the top 8 teams basically in the NFL up front. Yeah, I mean, this past couple of seasons with this defense struggling like it has been, and we've been very adamant about the secondary, the play of the defensive line. I mean, it's been everywhere. And it comes down to, once again, complementary football on your defense. If you don't have a legit defensive line that can stop the run or get after the quarterback, that affects the secondary. It goes hand in hand. So the fact that Urban Meyer has now addressed, and the coaching staff has now addressed the defensive line, added pieces, added cogs. Well, when you add that many cogs to a machine, it's going to start running a little smoother now. Now that you have this defensive line able to stop the run and hopefully get after the quarterback, that takes the weight off the secondary a little bit. Now those guys get home to the quarterback quicker. It helps the secondary out. It all goes hand in hand. It makes the linebackers' jobs easier. And I think what you saw the last couple of seasons, especially the last 2 seasons, is the fact that the defensive line could not stop the run, even though they tried to address it, and that was supposed to be a staple of this defense. They couldn't get the job done. It hurt the secondary. It hurt everybody. If you can play complementary football on both sides of the ball, you got a chance to win. Adding this many defensive linemen right now, it gives you the opportunity. I'm not going to say they're there yet, but it gives you the opportunity to play complementary football, and that's what you want for your secondary right now. Yeah, let's bounce around the league with me for a moment here real quick. Juju Smith-Schuster signs a 1-year deal with the Pittsburgh Steelers. That's a little surprising, huh? 1-year deal. We talk about this wide receiver market all week. My gosh, now I look at that deal and I'm like, wait a minute now, Jags, maybe like 2 years, $17 million. That would have felt pretty good to get Juju Smith-Schuster. I mean, could a team have gotten a bargain deal? Now, there are some reports that the Raiders and somebody else offered more money, but he ends up going back to Pittsburgh. What a weird market for the receivers in general, but Juju Smith-Schuster especially. Well, wasn't it did you say the Raiders or the Ravens? Say that again. Did you say the Raiders or the Ravens? It was the Ravens, right?
Is that what they said? It was the Ravens?
Yeah. I think
it might have been both, though. There were
Okay.
two teams, so it might have been the Raiders and Ravens.
I know the Baltimore Ravens offered him a lot more money, they said. They didn't say exactly how much it was, but it was a lot more to have a one-year deal, I believe, in Baltimore, and Smith-Schuster turned him down. Yeah, I don't know. I think this is a situation here where you have a young guy who's maybe still trying to find his way a little bit in the NFL. I mean, he's shown that he has talent, but I think this is a situation where he's going where he feels comfortable, and that's okay. If you're comfortable in that locker room in Pittsburgh, in that environment, and kind of that culture that Mike Tomlin brings to the table, then so be it. But he definitely did take a pay discount. He definitely showed a little loyalty here by staying in Pittsburgh. And keep in mind, Pittsburgh's got a pretty deep wide receiver room, right? We saw the emergence of Claypool last year. We got Deontay Johnson, is kind of that solid one receiver. So, Smith-Schuster's going to get in where he fits in, but he had opportunities to go to Baltimore to be the featured wide receiver. He opted not to and taking a pay discount. I think with him, it's just more of where he feels comfortable, and obviously that's back home in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, that's a peculiar move. I mean, think about this. I'm almost now happy for Allen Robinson. Not so much he doesn't have a quarterback, but then he got franchise tagged. I'm pretty sure the franchise tag's like $18 million. So A-Rob gets $18 million. I'm not sure what he would have got on this open market with wide receivers. It just doesn't. Galladay still hasn't signed anywhere, right?
I'm sorry?
Galladay?
No, he hasn't signed yet. I know there's obviously interest. I think the Ravens are looking at him as well, but he hasn't signed anywhere yet.
Okay, so you got Juju Smith-Schuster's going back on a very moderate deal. Marvin Jones gets he's 31, so he signs with the Jags. Chris Godwin stays put. Allen Robinson franchise, of course, stays put. And so Galladay is one of the top receivers out there, and we're a Friday here of free agency, which is really now almost a week old because it started on Monday at noon, and he doesn't have a home yet. And he's sitting here taking visits. And guys can do that. That might end up in a better situation. I'm just so surprised at the wide receiver market. And Juju Smith-Schuster at his age with his production to go back on just a one-year deal to Pittsburgh for pretty minimal dollars. I feel good for A-Rob now. He kind of got a payday and has a chance to get another payday next year, maybe when the market's a little bit better, because the market just is not good. We've been saying it all week, but the market's not great for wide receivers.
It's not great, but at the same time, by far the best two receivers in Chris Godwin and Allen Robinson, they both got franchise tagged. Yeah. So it's hard to reset the market when the top two guys get franchise tagged. I think Smith-Schuster was a guy who maybe was intriguing, but you didn't hear a lot of people clamoring and hammering on the table for Smith-Schuster. You wanted Godwin or you wanted Allen Robinson. I think Galladay is also maybe a step above Smith-Schuster as well. But no, yeah, as far as the market right now, there really is no market for the free agent wide receiver because, once again, Smith-Schuster decided to take a discount, and it goes to show you sometimes it's not always about the money, obviously. It's about the situation. Now, the situation in Pittsburgh of why Smith-Schuster would choose that, we may never know that, but he feels comfortable there, so more power to him for that.
Smith-Schuster is interesting here because it feels a little bit like the guy who goes back to college to improve his stock. He's like a second-round guy coming out his junior year, and he goes back for a senior year because he wants to be a top 15 pick.
Yeah.
That's what this feels like. It feels like Smith-Schuster wasn't in that upper echelon category of wide receivers. Already the wide receiver market is a little goofy. And so he goes back where a place he's comfortable, Big Ben, he can win, he can hopefully have a big year, and he comes out next year and maybe gets the big money, the better money. He's still a young guy. So he kind of feels like that where he chooses to kind of come back to school and improve his stock.
No, I see what you're saying there, but at the same time, he's coming back with a wide receiver room with Deontay Johnson, Chase Claypool, and James Washington. So, if I was Smith-Schuster and I was concerned about the money, I go to Baltimore on maybe a one-year deal, and I just say, all right, I'm the number one receiver now. I get Lamar Jackson, maybe not the best passer in the NFL, but still a very dynamic and explosive offense, and I become the man there. We're talking about a team in the Baltimore Ravens that was trying to rely on Des Bryant to be a receiver there. Right? So,
yeah.
If you're worried about the money and you're worried about that second contract, you got to go to Baltimore, man, just because, once again, that wide receiver room in Pittsburgh is so crowded.
With all due respect, receivers are a dime a dozen. There's so many in the draft that are coming out that it's lowering the price, I think, for these free agents and really changing the market, even though they've had tremendous production and really good resumes. Hey, let's get to Matt down in St. Augustine. He joins us on Action Sports Shacks on ESPN 690. Hope you've been to the Moe's Breakfast, by the way, down there in St. Augustine, Matt.
I've been thinking about it.
What's up, man?
Hey guys, as we're talking about making Jacksonville a more attractive spot for free agents, I was listening to some of the national guys this morning, and Dan Graziano referred to the Jaguars as the London Jaguars again and again. So I still think that there's this perception that we're tied to London so much that it kind of maybe keeps free agents from wanting to come here with this up-in-the-air possibility. Do the Jags front office and Shad Khan have to do a better job of maybe distancing themselves from this London move?
Matt, that's a good question, man. I appreciate you bringing that up. And let's address it quick. I was going to go to break, but let's do it right now. I saw a clip that said that I did not see the full context of Graziano this morning. And basically, I think what they were doing is predicting, like, down the road Super Bowl champs. And he predicted the Jaguars with London Jaguars. Yeah, listen, I don't know if he was kidding. I don't know if he continues to kind of be goofy on that front. But I don't know how many times we have to say that or this around here. The Jaguars are not going to London. If you wanted to tell me that in 5 years the Jaguars are moved out of Jacksonville, which I don't even believe is going to happen or not even a trend toward happening, you know me, I don't even buy into that. But if you wanted to tell me they were somewhere else, I wouldn't even put London at the top of the list. Okay? So that's why the London stuff's dumb. I would think I would name 2 or 3 other cities before I name London as being the next place they go. So that's the way I feel about the Jags someday moving to London. Do the Jags need to come out and say that? I don't know. Austin, I think there are going to be some big-time actions made here in the next few months that are going to say, another time, why would we invest this kind of money in Jacksonville if we were ever getting out of Jacksonville? And that's going to be with this facility, Austin. Shad Khan's going to probably spend north of $100 million on a facility with his own money. Why would he do that for like 3, 4, 5, 6 years to someday move the team out?
No, they're definitely not going to move out. Like, let's just put that to bed right now. I'm not sure what the context of Dan Graziano was, but obviously that's not going to happen. But I think it raises an interesting question about if you were to play 2 games over in London, would that affect things a little bit? Does that take away, I guess, some of the seriousness of the Jacksonville Jaguars? And I think it does. Because we've talked about this before. I think when you have, and I'm not saying they're going to have this because we don't know yet, but I'm saying if you have 2 home games in London, I think that makes it harder to bring guys in. I think, veterans, free agents with families, they don't want to stay an extended period of time in London during the season. I think they want to have a home base, and that's it. I think from a competitive advantage, having 2 games in London, it hurts you as well. So it puts you behind the 8 ball in trying to go to the playoffs and trying to win a Super Bowl. So I think when we talk about in the realm of, 2 London games, or I'm not going to say 3 London games, like 2 London games, I think that is a disadvantage. Now, I get the other side of it and the profits and the money that you make, and that's important for a business as well. But I think that when you're trying to establish that culture and build something, I think 2 London games does hurt.
Yeah, I get it. Listen, I think the Jaguars have said multiple occasions, we're not going anywhere, we're not going anywhere, we're not going anywhere. I think the recent development Jay, there was a lot of conversation about what they have to do to be an NFL city. We've heard the politicians say that. That brings the conversation back to the forefront again. I do think the stadium will be the kind of the tipping point of where this organization is. And when that happens, whether that's in the next few years, the next 5 years, the next 7 or 8 years, that, like every other city, is a big deal. It's an important piece of the pie. The Jags are trending in a direction where they've already laid the foundation for that. I think the city already knows that's coming at some point. The city knows what it's going to take to appease the Jaguars, appease the NFL, and they're going to have to move toward that. There's going to be a lot that happens in between now and then. But again, Urban Meyer and Shad Khan are going to move forward on a big-time facility in Jacksonville. You don't build $100 million structures and pay for it yourself without even any kind of city money, which is what I think it will cost, and then pick up and go somewhere in a few years. It's just it continues to be silly rhetoric in my opinion. It's easy. It's kind of lazy. Sometimes it's a punchline thing. I hate going there. I understand the conversation. Matt, I appreciate you bringing it up, but it's not happening. I'll say what I just said a few minutes ago. If you told me in 6-7 years the Jaguars are not in Jacksonville, I'll put 2 or 3 other cities in a line before London, England. I'll do it, and I'll wager with you. And I'm moving to London. I don't think any franchise is, but especially the Jacksonville Jaguars aren't going to London. And they're not moving from Jacksonville, by the way. I mean, I got a Ruth's Chris steak dinner bet on the fact they get the NFL draft someday. Who knows what I'd bet you to say they're never going to get out of Jacksonville over the next decade, 15, 20 years, 30 years, whatever it might be. We'll be back. Action Sports Jacks on ESPN 690.
ESPN 690 SportsCenter update.
Happy Friday. I'm Jake Mitchell. Houston Texans quarterback Deshaun Watson is facing a third allegation of sexual misconduct. The first two accusations are linked to civil suits, but the woman's attorney, Tony Busby, says that he has been in contact with the police and, quote, will be sending them a package with info on the cases. Busby also says that there are a total of 9 cases so far, and these are just the first 3 to come forward. Here's Adam Schefter, ESPN NFL insider, with an update.
And when we talk about teams that would be interested in Deshaun Watson, I think that they also are monitoring the situation, gathering information. They will be in consultation with the NFL office, but I don't think that this is going to deter anybody's interest in Deshaun Watson if they are or considering a trade for him.
Keelan Cole, Jags' former wide receiver, has moved on to the Big Apple and the New York Jets, signing a 1-year, $5.5 million deal. The Sports Center Update is brought to you by Morgan & Morgan. Morgan & Morgan, for the people.
We should always be looking at our finances, but 2020 made my family take an even closer look, a bit more of a deeper dive, and it might have done the same for you, even into the world of retirement. Although that's a bit down the road for me, it might be closer for you, and your plan should already be under a microscope, and you have to lean on the experts to help guide the right plan. My friend Mike Lester with Talon Wealth Management is the perfect partner. He will provide a complimentary analysis and a plan for you. Call him at 904-515-5000 or visit guardingyournestegg.com. That's 904-515-5000 or guardingyournestegg.com. Mike will give you the guidance you need as retirement gets closer. He can help you convert company plans to private plans, a move that might give you higher returns and more options. You've earned the money. Now make sure you are ready for whenever retirement will be. Call Mike Lester at Talon Wealth Management, 904-515-5000. That's 904-515-5000 or visit guardingyournestegg.com.
Life is complicated. We all know it, and all can use the proper support system. You know what else can be complicated? Owning a home. And that's why Rex was built to go beyond the simple real estate transaction. Full-service agents for buying and selling, mortgage services, insurance quotes, escrow and title, even home repair, all one call away. I guess you could call Rex your home support system and not a typical brokerage. Call 833-REX-HOME. That's 833-739-4663. Want more? Of course you do. With all that convenience comes reduced fees too. In fact, the average Rex homeowner saves over $10,000 when buying and selling a home. Want to get started? It's never too soon. Call 833-REX-HOME. That's 833-739-4663. 833-739-4663. Florida license number CQ1057788. For further licensing disclosures, please visit rexhomes.com.
Ready, set, go to Arlington Toyota today. It's the Ready, Set, Go sales event starting now, which means it's your time to save on over 400 new Toyotas on the lot at Arlington Toyota. Right now at Arlington, take your pick. A new 2021 Corolla LE or a new 2020 Camry LE. You choose. 0 down or buy for just $249 a month. This is a purchase, not a lease. It's the Ready, Set, Go sales event at Arlington Toyota. Shop safely in person, 10939 Atlanta Boulevard, or online at arlingtontoyota.com. Visit arlingtontoyota.com/March for full details.
It is the home of the Action Sports Jacks Dream 18, and make it your home course as well. The golf club at Southampton in North St. Johns County, located off County Road 210. It's family owned and operated. Southampton is a fun course to play, and the golf club at Southampton offers club membership programs starting at just $79. With its elite practice facilities and player-friendly golf course design, it'll be your gateway to a great time with the family or with your buddies. For information on the membership programs, call the golf club at Southampton, 904-287-PLAY. Again, it's 904-287-PLAY. I
should have my kid tell you about Jumpin' Jack's House of Food. It's Ty's favorite burger in town. Make it one of your favorites as well. Jumpin' Jack's House of Food has 3 locations now: Atlantic Beach, Mandarin, and downtown Jacksonville. Change your life burgers. But they have salads, pizza, and much more on the menu, too. Let Jumpin' Jack's House of Food be your great neighbor. Lunch or dinner with the family, or they will cater parties from 2 to 500 people. Jumpin' Jack's, HOF.com for online ordering. Jumpin' Jack's House of Food, open 7 days a week.
Transmission problems? Call Action Transmission Specialists on Merrill Road, where you get the work done right the first time by the experts. I'm Robin Sidbury, the owner. Our techs can service all makes and models, and we provide a nationwide warranty, so you have the peace of mind knowing we solve your transmission troubles fairly and honestly and guaranteed nationwide. Call us at Action Transmission Specialist on Merrill Road, where quality counts. Get traction. Call Action at 744-0755.
Are you okay?
Fine, just tackling the hall closet. I'm flinging myself into spring cleaning.
I'm going to clean up on Chardonnays at low prices at Total Wine. I want to fling into spring with thousands of wines, spirits, and beers to explore. We can save big and mix up cocktails with tequilas and fruit-flavored vodkas. There's so many choices. Chardonnays, rosés, pinots, proseccos.
I'm going to Total Wine with you.
Wondrous selection, helpful guides, always low prices. Total Wine and more. Drink responsibly, B21.
The Seminoles are here.
Ducks into the cardboard. Good shot again. Walker is going crazy. Knowles win it all. Just a triple. Good shot. You'll hear the horn. The Knowles will win.
Catch the action all season long right here on your radio home of the Seminoles.
Hear FSU basketball on ESPN 690. Thanks to Donato's Pizza, where every piece is important.
Yeah, that was awful. I don't agree with it, but no one asked my opinion. I guess the old days you could bring them in and meet them, have dinner with them, and you find out the football intellect, find out the character, find out that. So we had to do, the thing you don't, I found out, is call someone who has a skin in the game, because they're going to quite be, I don't see, honest isn't the appropriate word, but so we did a deep dive. Every guy that we signed, we did. I have Ryan Stamper, Marcus Pollard. I call those guys our assessment guys. They did as much deep dive as we could. The ones like Malcolm that Charlie Strong recruited and knew, we were good. Roy Roberts, we did a deep dive into him, and it came back extremely positive. So that was, to answer your question, that was awful. I don't believe it should be that way. Not when you're making organizational decisions. I'm not sure how that rule came about, but to me, that's not good business.
As we were talking about a little bit earlier, Urban Meyer does not like this free agency stuff where you just throw money at people and sign them and bring them in without meeting them, without vetting them enough, knowing enough. And so he really used the connections and some deep dives, some investigative work to figure out who he thought would fit. And that's a chance you take now at free agency, much like the draft. You can only do so much work even in the draft, but the draft you can at least do a good amount of work, like months and months and months, and it goes even back sometimes 18 months on some guys. But it's still a crapshoot at the end of the day, and so is free agency, maybe even more so. But Urban Meyer relying on some of the ties that he's had with assistant coaches and personnel over the years. Let's get you caught up on your bracket. How's the bracket looking so far? Whoa, look out, Ohio State. Oral Roberts at halftime leading the Buckeyes 36-33. Ohio State, a team many people think can make a run to win the national title, right now having trouble getting out of the first round. Hartford and Baylor just tipped off. Florida beats Virginia Tech to open the whole thing, and it was a dandy in overtime, 70 for the Gators. Big win for them. They'll move on to take on the Oral Roberts Ohio State winner. Arkansas over Colgate. Illinois routs Drexel, and Texas Tech beats Utah State. You got anything exciting, Austin Lane, in your bracket here in the early goings? I had Utah State beating Texas Tech 11-6, so that didn't work out. What you got?
No, nothing exciting so far.
You're a chalk guy?
I mean, not right now I am, I guess. Yeah, like I got Ohio State going to the Elite Eight, so I'm going to need them to step their game up a little bit. I'm a little nervous with that one. But no, so far so good. All my teams have won so far. It's crazy, though, because I was watching the Illinois-Drexel game because I have Illinois winning the whole thing, so I had to do a little scouting, make sure that I made the right decision. And you want to talk about one of the sloppiest first 6 minutes of all of college basketball, that was it against Drexel. And then, of course, like if you go on Twitter, it's, this is the team that's supposed to win it, and everyone's starting to freak out. And then all of a sudden, Illinois reminds you why they're Illinois, and that's the way it usually goes sometimes as teams come out a little, rusty. It takes time to get back in that groove of things and, wear some of that adrenaline off, and then you're good to go. So, yeah, so far so good for me.
I always tell this story. I've covered University at Albany. They were a 16 seed, and they played UConn. Way back, it was in Philadelphia, and now I forget what year, but they were winning for like 28 minutes of the game. I mean, so much so people thought they might be the 16 to beat the 1.
Yeah.
And so like everybody's TV in the country had turned to the game. And I'm telling you, man, they were not only were they beating them, they were beating them by a dozen with like 12 minutes to go in the game. They ended up losing, I think, by 13.
Sure.
You just run out of gas. And I think that happened today with Colgate and Arkansas as well. Arkansas was down by like 10, and then they just blitzed them.
Yeah.
So it's just you can only hold those teams down. I mean, the teams that are able to do it, it's pretty heady stuff because it's really tough to do it for 40 minutes. There's some good games tonight. I'm looking forward to your Badgers, by the way, against North Carolina. That could be a good one. Liberty, Oklahoma State, I think is going to be a really good game, too.
For sure. And with all due respect to Wisconsin, in my real bracket, I actually have Wisconsin getting beat the first round. I think UNC is going to go deep in this tournament. I think they're playing the right kind of basketball at the right time right now. And also we got college wrestling going on right now in the NCAA championships as well. So there is so much going on my computer screen right now. It's insane.
College wrestling, are you like locked in?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
really?
there was a really huge controversy last night where essentially a kid's season got ended because they didn't start the clock. It was a horrible scene last night, yeah.
Is Iowa still like unbelievable in wrestling?
They're up there. I think they won the Big Tens, if I'm not mistaken. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, they're really good. But usually it's Iowa, Penn State, something along those lines. Yeah.
Yep, absolutely. All right, we'll be back. Action Sports Jacks on ESPN 690. What Urban Meyer had to say about Gardner Minshew today. Should we read into it? We discuss it on ESPN 690.
It's been 6 months since my wife leased her new Cadillac from Fields Auto Group, and she absolutely loves it. It's our first experience with Fields, and it's been terrific. They say you can step up to luxury for less, and we did. Not just a luxury Cadillac XT6. The car is beautiful, but the customer service is extra special, too. It was like that at Fields Cadillac Jacksonville, and it will be like that at any of the Fields locations in Jacksonville. Cadillac, of course, Jaguar, Land Rover, Lexus, Mercedes-Benz, and Porsche as well. Yes, it's luxury for less at all Fields Auto Group locations in Jacksonville. Plus, you'll also be part of their exclusive Fields Amenities program, where you will get complimentary loaners, car washes, and cafes. We are now part of that Fields Amenities program, and my wife tried the loaner program. It was easy and a nice added benefit. So whatever you're driving, see Fields and step up to luxury for less. Check out their locations all around Jacksonville, just like we did. You can go visit fieldsauto.com.
Are you getting engaged, celebrating an anniversary or birthday?
You're in luck. It's Beards Diamond's most exceptional finance offer of the year.
5 years, 0% financing with nothing down.
Yes. Shop Beards Diamond's everyday low prices on anything in the store or at beardsdiamonds.com.
Then divide your total price by 60.
And that's your monthly payment with absolutely nothing down.
How about a $6,000 three-stone designer setting?
You pay only $100 a month.
Or a $4,500 1-carat diamond solitaire pendant necklace.
You pay just $75 a month.
And every purchase at Beards Diamonds is backed by our free lifetime warranty.
Now you can go bigger and get her the diamond ring she's always dreamed about.
And spread your payments out for 5 years and pay absolutely nothing in interest.
But hurry, Beards Diamond's incredible 5 years interest-free financing with nothing down is only available for a limited time. Shop now at beardsdiamonds.com or at the St. John's Town Center.
Get the lowest prices in Jacksonville, guaranteed at Beards Diamonds.
This is Jesse's O'Reilly Auto Parts story.
As a nurse, not making it to work was not an option. But driving through the snow with my wiper blades struggling, I just didn't feel safe. So I pulled into O'Reilly Auto Parts, and before I knew it, an employee was offering to install the wiper blades on my car. I got to stay out of the snow for a moment, and I still made it to work on time.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
DSC. There are so many razors out there. How do you choose which one's right for you? Well, at Dollar Shave Club, we got you. With a 6-blade cartridge for daily shavers with short hair and a 4-blade cartridge for less frequent shavers with longer hair. Still confused? Well, we put both blades in one new starter box, so you can test drive both. Check out dollarshaveclub.com/ESPN, dollarshaveclub.com/ESPN, and visit DSE at your nearest store. You've got questions, we got answers. Welcome to the club.
Now at a store near you.
WOKV Jacksonville. Listen live everywhere you go on ESPN690.com. ESPN 690, a Cox Media Group station.
SportsCenter.
The NCAA tournament first round at the half. Oral Roberts leads Ohio State 36-33. That's a 2 seed trailing a 15 seed. Finals today, Texas Tech beats Utah State 65-53. Florida goes overtime to beat Virginia Tech 75-70. Head coach Steve Wojciechowski is fired by Marquette after 7 seasons. The Golden Eagles went to the NCAA's twice under Wojciechowski. They were 13-14 this year. Wideout Juju Smith-Schuster will re-sign with the Steelers. Our Adam Schefter reports it's a 1-year deal for less money than he could have gotten elsewhere. The Ravens and Eagles were also interested. ESPN's Chris Canty.
It's better to deal with the devil that you know than the devil that you don't, and have an opportunity to play this year, system he's familiar with, try to have a big season and set himself up to have a better free agency when the cap goes up a little bit in 2022.
Chris Canty on Barton and Hahn. The Bengals cut 8-time Pro Bowl lineman Geno Atkins.
What? Just 15 seconds to talk about Twisted Tea Hard Iced Tea? That smooth taste of real brewed iced tea with just the right kick of alcohol? What? We started already? Twisted Tea Hard Iced Tea. Look for it in the bright yellow cans. Twisted Tea Brewing Company, Cincinnati, Ohio. Please drink responsibly.
Broadcasting live from the ESPN 690 Anajar and Levine studios. Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 904-600-4000. That's 904-600-4000. ESPN 690. Jacksonville's home for ESPN Radio.
Mike Greenberg. Greeny.
The biggest difference between the athletes of today and the athlete of Shaquille O'Neal's generation is Twitter. And with Twitter in particular, social media in general, but with Twitter in particular, the generation of athletes who grew up in that consider it to be important enough that they do not ignore it. They hear it, they live it, they respond to it, they internalize it. It matters to them.
Greeny with Mike Greenberg. Weekday mornings at 10 Eastern on ESPN Radio. And watch exclusively on ESPN Plus.
Broadcasting live from the ESPN 690 Anajar and Levine studios. This is Action Sports Jacks on ESPN 690 with Brent Martineau and Austin Lane.
At this point, no. At this point, I know Gardner a little bit. He came in yesterday. We had a good visit. That's the second time I've spent time with him. This is all kind of new to me. I'm used to spending about 5-6 hours a day with our quarterback. January and February is the days to get your quarterback ready to go, and you can't do that in the NFL. So, there's a lot of anticipation about the first pick, and I understand, there's a lot of conversation out there, but there has been no decisions made. Gardner's done some very good things here, and he's a competitive maniac, which I really appreciate that about him. So there's been no decisions made. Yesterday was the first lengthy meeting we had, and we're going to continue that here for the next few weeks.
That is Urban Meyer this morning. Breakfast with Urban when talking about Gardner Minshew and his future in Jacksonville. Remember now, a couple of days ago, we discussed it. There were some reports that teams had inquired about trading for Gardner Minshew. In what capacity, we have no idea. I continue to say, were those teams calling the Jags? Was it the Jags calling other teams? Was it the camp of Minshew trying to reach out and say, hey, if you got a job we can fight for, we'll go get it? Because maybe they would be unhappy staying in Jacksonville. So I don't know which one it is. Maybe it simply is just other teams reaching out. But Urban Meyer tended to say today that, no, teams haven't reached out and called. So I don't know what the report was or where it came from or why it was out there. But regardless, Urban Meyer says, hey, basically for now he's on a roster, and I enjoy being around the guy. I do one day want to be called a competitive maniac. I think that would be kind of a nice thing for somebody to say about you. He said it now about Trevor Lawrence. He said it now about Gardner Minshew as well. I think in all the transparency we talk, if we really want to be honest, Urban did say there's been no decisions made on the quarterback stuff. I think in respect to Gardner Minshew, he has to say that and is saying that and keeping every door open as we are 5 weeks or so away from the NFL draft. But I think decisions have been made about what they are doing with that number 1 overall pick. Any insight today from what Urban just said about Gardner Minshew on the question we really asked the last couple of days, Austin? Do you think he will be on the roster in the fall? Did today's comments by Urban Meyer do anything to lean you one way or another?
Yeah, I mean, they're always going to take calls. It would be foolish not to take calls. Now, the deal has to make sense. And I've been on the philosophy where if you can get a 4th rounder for him, then maybe you pull that trigger. But if we're talking like a 6th-round pick or a late 5th-round pick, that's essentially what you got him for. And to me, that's bad business. That's bad, and I put it in quotes, that's bad value. So unless you get, a pretty good deal for Minshew, I'm not saying it's off the table quite yet. But if you got to keep him, you got to keep him. And I don't think a team's going to be willing to part ways with a 4th-round pick per se. Just because we have to see how the draft shakes out and all that stuff. But, yeah, if I could be called, what was it? A competitive, what was it again?
Maniac.
Yeah, a competitive maniac. That would, if I could put that on my LinkedIn page, that would be fantastic. I mean, I think the only thing I ever got called was an American Psycho, and that's from Luke Richardson, who was like our strength coach. He called me an American Psycho one time because I guess of the way I was putting up weight, I hope. I don't know why.
That's a pretty good compliment.
Yeah, it was cool.
Yeah, I mean, maniac itself is one thing, but there's something that's really punctuates it when you say competitive maniac.
Yeah.
Like, I hope my kids are competitive maniacs.
Yeah.
That'll be all Steph's doing, though, instead of me, if that's the case. I don't know if I learned a whole heck of a lot about Gardner Minshew. I think I said this week on the show that I believe he will be on the roster in the fall. I think it all shakes out. I think Gardner Minshew's the backup quarterback of the Jacksonville Jaguars. My only hesitation, and I got asked this question again last night by someone after our show, and my only hesitation is I just don't know how he feels about being here. And I could see why he would be a little less than thrilled about being here, if I'm being honest. If I was in his shoes after last year, the way all that went down, the limited chance that he got to really show his stuff, the dysfunction that has been in Jacksonville these last couple of years since he's been on the roster, and now the idea that I know I'm sitting behind the future quarterback of this football team with probably not much of a chance to even start right away and then bring that guy along, so I could hold him off, because I don't even think that's the situation here. If you presented me the situation and said, hey, Gardner, what we'd like to do is we're probably going to draft this young guy, man. He's a big talent, but we don't want to play him right away. So we want you to do the best you can to hold him up for as long as you can. Now, I'm going to probably sign up for that if I'm Gardner Minshew. I don't think that's what's going on, Austin. I think there's, hey, go battle it out. If you're the better guy and we think we can win with you, you got to say that as a coach. But I don't think they have any plans to play anybody else but Trevor Lawrence day one, game one here in Jacksonville.
No, without a doubt. I mean, the writing's on the wall for Gardner Minshew. Ironically, and it's not just him because it's a team game, but if he wouldn't have went 1-7 this past year, then we wouldn't be talking about Trevor Lawrence right now.
Yeah.
So, I mean, and once again, with all due respect to Gardner Minshew, I love the dude. I love what he's all about. But, I mean, a lot of this falls on him, and it's kind of the bed that you made. So it is what it is. Now, how does Gardner Minshew feel about being in Jacksonville? That I'm not sure of, because I don't know how he feels about Urban Meyer. It's a brand-new regime. It's a bunch of new coaches that he hasn't worked with yet. So I don't know how he feels. Does he want to be a starter? Yeah, probably, because he's that competitive, and I think he deserves to think that way. I think after his first year in the league and all the optimism that we all had about him, I still think that's there, and it should be there. He should still have that chip on his shoulder. But you're naive if you think, if you're Gardner Minshew, that you're going to be the starting quarterback for the Jaguars anymore. I guess the real question comes, and I don't have the answer for you, is if he can be the starter someplace else going into 2021. And I'm not sure if he can, because once again, let the draft shake out first, right? Let free agency take place first. And then when the dust settles and the smoke clears, I'm not sure if Minshew's going to be left with a starting spot on any team. So if that's the case, and you have that conversation with yourself, then you might as well stay where you know, and you might as well stay where you're comfortable, and that's Jacksonville.
I always think, and I say this a lot, and we talk about it, I think, quite a bit. But the 30 for 30 I would sign up for to see is the quarterback room, the relationship, the dynamic, the good, the bad, the, hey, we all got along, we didn't, I really think that room is the most fascinating room in sports. I can't find anything else like it. In sports, like, you might have a pitcher in baseball. Obviously, you got one guy, and he could go the entire game, but he's still only pitching once a week. Your shortstop, you still have a backup shortstop, a guy that could probably play second as well, or can come in and DH, or he can come play defense in the 8th inning. There's ways to use your roster in baseball. You can use all 12. It's seldom do you, but you can use all 12 in basketball. You can use different lines in hockey. You can use different rotations in football. Or somebody always gets hurt anyway, so you seemingly have to have depth, and the guy usually gets an opportunity. Like, even the offensive line, your backup offensive lineman usually gets in during the course of a season. The backup quarterback, to sign up for what Gardner Minshew will be likely here in Jacksonville if he stays, is a guy that you can't promise anything to him. You can promise a few practice reps if you play preseason games, and that's it. That is all you can promise. He could, for the next 2 years under his contract, be in Jacksonville and never play a snap. And you just don't say that about many positions in sports, if any positions in sports. And so it creates this dynamic in the room that I've always had this curiosity about, is why, man, you really respect the guy, you root for the guy, your peers, like, you don't want to wish anything bad, but at the same time, you're like, I want my opportunity. How do you wrestle with that internally in your own mind, where you could help bring a young guy along, but you still want your chance because you're still a young guy that feels like it can get done? And until you get to the point where, Austin, you're like Chad Henne, or maybe even you're Ryan Fitzpatrick, but even I think of like a Mark Brunell late in his career. Heck, who was it? Matt Schaub, who was basically resigned to the fact that they're going to be backup guys and holding a clipboard. That is a tough position to be in, because you want your spot, you want your chance. I can do this. Like, I can be better than you think I am, yet you may never get your chance to do it. And that is about the position where Gardner Minshew, if he stays in Jacksonville, is about to be put in.
Yes and no, though, because he's had 23 games to show is he the guy or not. And I think that we've learned a lot in those 23 games. Now, once again, injuries are a factor. The team dynamic is a factor. Like, he didn't get any help from the defense. He had some help from the offense, but obviously the defense did him zero favors. So there is a little bit of a sample size. It's not, to me, like a Josh Rosen situation where Josh Rosen was taken in the first round. He goes to Arizona, and then all of a sudden he's gone because, Kyler Murray's coming in.
Yeah.
And then he goes to Miami because he played in, 2 games, and then he's gone from there. Like, Josh Rosen, to me, is the classic example of you never knew what you had because the sample size was too small. From Gardner Minshew's perspective, you got a guy who was taken in the 6th round who has played in 23 games. Now I think the record speaks for itself where he's played in 23 games. He's got a 7-13. I'm trying to see the record right now, what he is overall. He's 7-13 overall. So 3 of those games he came in off the bench, I guess that you would say. I don't know, Brent. It would be an interesting watch for sure because every quarterback room is obviously different. And without the risk of echoing myself too much on Wednesday, there does come a time. There comes a time where you're a backup quarterback and you accept that, and then there's a time where you still want to be the starting quarterback and teams bring you on in terms of a true competition in terms to see, all right, who's going to be the guy, because they always say pressure burst pipes or make diamonds. So, I like that for Gardner Minshew. I'm not sure if he's there, though. I really don't know where he sits right now and what teams think about him. Because I see a guy, once again, who's played in 23 games. I kind of know what he brings to the table. But I also see a guy where if you put him in a quarterback room and it's a true competition, well, then he can maybe elevate his play. He can maybe make those guys around him better. So for Gardner Minshew, it's all about situation. But the problem with the situation is there's always a turnover in the NFL at any position. And this year with this quarterback draft, there's going to be a turnover at the quarterback position in terms of guys becoming backups and guys becoming starters. And I just don't know where Gardner Minshew fits in all of that.
Yeah, I don't either. I don't know where he fits in the NFL. I talked about this. I was thinking about this yesterday. We were talking about quarterbacks. And I've said this now. I think there are more good quarterbacks or better quarterbacks. The overall play at every level of football is way better than it's ever been. And I'm not talking about the elite of the elite. I'm talking about the overall product of the QB position. There are more good quarterbacks that you're like, I think this guy can be something than ever before. So much so that I think even teams are starting to find their reliable backups in the NFL. And That doesn't mean they're all right about the quarterback they have. There's Sam Darnold, who the Jets don't really know maybe, but they have a guy they think they might know, or Tua. There's those situations where the book hasn't been written on them, but they're at least comfortable giving them an opportunity. And Sam Darnold probably not a good example there because they could trade him away. But it's really an interesting dilemma for Minshew because there's just not a lot of vacancies everywhere else to even say, I could go there and be the guy. I could go there and be the guy. And therefore, that could make him tough to even trade if you're the Jacksonville Jaguars as well. The QB spot continues to be one of the most fascinating in all of sports. Hey, speaking of, well, I don't know if fascinating is the right word. Interesting is. And speaking of QBs, Deshaun Watson's situation in Houston has been one to watch. What we didn't see coming is what's happened this week. More allegations, Austin, in the Deshaun Watson situation. Now 7 women have come out and claimed, let me make sure I got the right lingo here so I don't get anybody in trouble. But what do you make of the Deshaun Watson situation right now? The NFL is investigating. 4 more lawsuits filed against Watson today alleging similar inappropriate conduct and sexual assault to the previous 3 that had been filed. It brings the total to 7 lawsuits filed against Watson by a Houston attorney. David Mulugeta, Watson's agent, tweeted this a couple hours ago. Sexual assault is real. Victims should be heard. Offenders prosecuted. Individuals fabricate stories in pursuit of financial gain. Often, their victims should be heard and those offenders also prosecuted. I simply hope we keep the same energy with the truth. When this first came out, it felt a little odd. It's getting more and more bizarre.
Yeah, it's getting very bizarre. And the timing of it obviously is the reason why it's bizarre. We have a guy in Deshaun Watson who's been in the news a lot just because of what's happening in Houston. And he doesn't want to play there, though, and that's been one of the big talking points, the entire offseason is what's going to happen with Deshaun Watson. And then all of a sudden, a bunch of allegations come out, a bunch of people accusing him of sexual misconduct. So it's an interesting thing that's happening right now with Deshaun Watson. Listen, I'm from the belief that you're innocent until proven guilty. But at the same time, these are serious allegations, and every single allegation needs to be taken seriously, without a doubt. No ands, ifs, or buts about it. So, it's hard for me to say, well, he's innocent or guilty. I don't know the details behind these allegations, but it's just the whole timing of it, man. I'd be lying if I didn't say it's definitely peculiar, and why is this all coming out now when we see Deshaun Watson in the news so much regarding how he feels about Houston?
Yeah, and I'm going with the innocent until proven guilty, which we always should do. But this kind of reeks of it a little bit more, perhaps. I don't know if I have the right read or not. But, a lot of people who look into this stuff will say the civic versus the civil suit versus the criminal suit here is something to keep an eye on, because that usually can tend to lead to a money grab of sorts. But you also don't want to dismiss allegations like this. So I think the Deshaun Watson situation is really bizarre right now with this popping up at this time where I really thought, Austin, the Watson watch would be on, right, in terms of where he could end up even in these next couple of days. This might delay that a little bit with any move that Houston could potentially make.
Well, yeah, and if you really want to be a conspiracy theorist about all this, I mean, obviously, when these allegations come out, this can hamper Deshaun Watson from going anywhere else, because the last thing teams want to do right now is bring Deshaun Watson on a big-time trade with all these allegations going around. So all this stuff needs to clear up first, I feel like, before he goes anywhere else. Who knows how long this is going to take? Like, he may be a Houston Texan by default, because this could go in the court. We don't know where this is going to go. This could go in the courts. This could be a trial. This could go for a while. And if that's the case, Deshaun Watson's not going anywhere. He's going to be a Texan by default. Now, whether or not he chooses to play, that's going to be on him. But in terms of Deshaun Watson wanting to get out of Houston and go to a different team, this is going to prevent him from doing that.
Hey, let's go get a little more knowledge about the NFL in terms of the Jags, but maybe even jump in on the Deshaun Watson situation from a football playing standpoint at the very least. And we head to NFL Network's Bucky Brooks. He joins us on Action Sports Jacks on ESPN 690 right now. Bucky, thanks for taking some time, man. We appreciate it here on a Friday. Hope you're keeping one eye on the bracket, by the way. We are too. But what's your take on Deshaun Watson this week? And I don't know what your thoughts are on him exiting Houston or staying in Houston anyway. Where do you think he plays football in the fall?
Well, I mean, I think it's obviously muddy now with all the allegations and things that are swirling. We have to see how that plays out. It certainly clouds the trade situation and trade market for him because you just don't know what is going to happen, particularly if the NFL gets into the investigation. Is there going to be a suspension and all these other things? And so I just think it kind of puts a pause on everything. And then for him, I think it's still the same situation. Is he going to report to Houston? Is he not? How is he going to play this out? The leverage is really with the team because if he doesn't show up in the punitive fines, at some point they can recoup upwards of $21 million of the signing bonus that was paid out last year, which was $27 million. And so there's still a lot of stuff that was in play. I think it just kind of like it just clouds the entire situation because I felt like the trade thing was more a bigger media thing than actuality because they said they weren't going to trade him. They held all the cards when it came to the trade situation. Really, it was what was going to happen as we got closer to the draft. But now with all this other stuff, I would firmly anticipate him being with the Texans until that situation blows over.
Bucky, yeah, that could be really interesting, by the way, to keep an eye on, Austin, because, again, I mean, you get closer and closer to the draft. You want to be able to know what you're doing if you're some of these organizations.
No, without a doubt. Bucky, like, where, I mean, and, you know, let's assume that Deshaun Watson's innocent. This whole thing blows over, and we'll start talking about Deshaun Watson, whether he wants to leave or not. Where Deshaun Watson sits right now, because I share the philosophy that I think Deshaun Watson has a lot more power than the Houston Texans because he has the trump card to say, you know what, if the NFLPA is going to allow me to sit out a year and opt out, I'm going to do that. And then essentially what's going to happen is Deshaun Watson sitting out, and then we have to go through the whole thing next year again if they don't trade him away. So do you feel like the Houston Texans have more power than Deshaun Watson, or do you think Deshaun Watson has the power right now?
The Texans have all the power. Like, Deshaun doesn't have any power when it comes to this. He has a no-trade clause, which is cool, but he doesn't have any power when it comes to it because all the money has been paid out to him. He won't receive another dime until the regular season starts. So unless he is willing to sit out and take a hard sit out, then he can do it. But, like, it doesn't necessarily hurt the Texans. The Texans basically signed Tyrod Taylor as an insurance policy. So if Deshaun wants to sit out and not collect money, that's his prerogative, but that doesn't necessarily mean that the Texans have to relinquish his rights and trade him away because he doesn't want to play. I think if you're the Texans, you have a 25-year-old franchise quarterback, those don't come along. You hold on to your quarterback, especially because he's coming off his best season and he's only 25. Yeah, no, you play this out. You have to play hardball with Deshaun Watson in this situation.
That's what Houston publicly has said they're going to do. Bucky Brooks with us here on Action Sports Jacks on ESPN 690. Brent Martineau, we got a couple of former Jags players here. Former Jag Austin Lane, co-host of the show. Former Jag Bucky Brooks as well. So, hey, you guys haven't been any part of reunion or anything, right, with the Jags? We've got to get one of those together.
Yeah, not yet. No reunion yet, but maybe soon.
I'm just trying to get back in the press box, Brent. One step at a time, man. Let's go.
Hey, Bucky, I know you do some work with Jaguars.com. And by the way, apologies for JP Shattuck, John Ogier, and the rest of them that you have to deal with all the time over there. But you do a fantastic job. What's your take on what Urban Meyer, Trent Baalke, and the Jags did the last week?
Well, I mean, I think there was a common theme. Urban kind of let us know how he was going to go about the process where they talked about familiarity in the position room. And you saw a lot of connections to the coaching staff and the front office staff with the guys that they signed. They want to know who they're bringing in because they're trying to change the culture. They're trying to create a different competitive environment in the locker room. And so I don't think it was a coincidence that these guys that have been brought in, the prominent free agents, have some tie to some of the coaches on the staff. And so now it's about figuring it out, putting it together, figuring out who you're going to take. Like, we presume that Trevor Lawrence is going to be the pick at quarterback, but what other marquee draft picks can you bring in? It's a lot. It's a work in progress, but I certainly like what Coach Meyer and Baalke are doing.
Were you surprised how Urban Meyer's kind of handled the press conferences so far? Because I sure was. You know, I thought I had a preconceived notion of what Urban Meyer was going to bring to the table, and I thought it was going to be a guy in his first year that was going to keep things close to the chest, not divulge any information. But I think Urban Meyer's done a great job of keeping fans in the loop a little bit and keeping fans up to date. Do you feel the same way, or did you expect this from him coming out of college?
No, I kind of expected it from him. I think once he got into the media world and once he lived that life, I think he understands what it's about. I also think what he's trying to do is he's trying to build a brand in Jacksonville. And that brand, the bigger the brand, the more appealing it is to future players. And so he wants it to be a big deal. And remember, he's a megastar. He's won at every level. Like he's won at college at every stop. He understands that there's a lot of light that's on him. And I think as a competitor, he is okay with that. So I didn't think he was going to be like reserved and shy and secretive. I think he wants everyone to understand what could be down in Jacksonville. He wants Jacksonville to be very appealing because he talked about it. He wants it to be a destination. He wants it to be a destination for free agents. He wants draftees to want to aspire to play there. And so he's trying to build the brand. And so the way that you do it is you're transparent and you kind of feed the frenzy of the fans to let them know, like, hey, we're going to do great things here in Jacksonville. I think that's what he's trying to do.
Bucky Brooks with us here on Action Sports Jacks on ESPN 690. Follow along on Twitter with Bucky at Bucky Brooks, B-U-C-K-Y, Brooks. And Bucky is also the host of the Move the Sticks podcast along with Daniel Jeremiah. And we love the work DJ does as well with NFL Network. Bucky, how fast can they get this thing cooking because of Trevor Lawrence alone? Obviously, Urban doesn't like to lose. He's going to try to win and win quickly. But sometimes turning around 1-15 can take some time. How much is this fast-tracked, in your opinion, because of Trevor?
Well, I mean, I think Trevor's an excellent player, excellent prospect, but I don't think they're going to put it all on Trevor. I think the mistake that will be made if we think that Trevor Lawrence is going to wipe away a decade of futility just because he shows up. That's not it. The way that I describe Trevor is Justin Herbert plus. Whatever you saw from Justin Herbert with the Chargers this year, I think they're very, very similar, but I believe Trevor is a little more electric in terms of the way that he plays and those things. I think it's really important that the pieces around him are right. The offensive line, which they did a good job of keeping that intact, that they figure out a way to have a running game. So Trevor doesn't have to throw it 40 times a game his rookie season. If they can manage the game and kind of keep him where the pitch count is anywhere 25 to 35 pass attempts a game, they got playmakers on the outside, and if they can get the defense up to snuff, I think being close to 6-7 wins rookie season would be great because then it sets you up to really have a major jump in the second year.
But before you came on the show, we were talking about a little bit of, the importance of a backup quarterback and what does that mean to the growth and development of your primetime guy coming in like Trevor Lawrence. And I believe that, if they choose to keep Gardner Minshew, that's fine. I think Trevor Lawrence is good enough where he doesn't need, a veteran backup quarterback to teach him things. I think Trevor Lawrence is going to kind of learn on the fly and show off his skill set. Like, do you want to see a guy like Alex Smith or someone experienced come in and kind of show him the ropes a little bit? Or do we put too much stake sometimes in the veteran backup quarterback where it's like, if this guy's good, he's going to be good regardless of who he has backing him up?
No, you need a veteran behind him that can teach him how to play. I think Alex Smith, I'm on record saying Alex Smith to me is the perfect one, not only because Alex has lived that life and walked in his shoes, he's been a former number 1 overall pick. He's played for Coach Meyer at Utah. He struggled early in his career before finding his way. He mastered the art of winning because when you look at the last 5 to 7 years, all he did was win. San Francisco, Kansas City, and even with the Washington football team, he's a winner. And so I would like someone in the room to show Alex how to go about the preparation process, how to think about the game, how to focus more on the little things that lead to wins more so than the individual honors. I would rather go that route than to have like Gardner Minshew or a young quarterback in the quarterback room who couldn't necessarily offer the same kind of wisdom that Alex Smith would be able to.
Yeah, that's interesting. I kind of I don't disagree with you either. I like the Alex Smith or a veteran guy. I just don't know if we're going to get that. I'm not convinced we're going to see that in Jacksonville. Bucky Brooks with us here, NFL Network analyst on Action Sports Jacks on ESPN 690 here on a Friday afternoon. All right, let me leave you with this one. The wide receiver market has been a strange one, Bucky. Juju Smith-Schuster, only a one-year deal to Pittsburgh. Have you been a bit surprised at the lack of movement, lack of big deals with the wide receivers in the NFL? And is that just a result of so much depth the last couple of years and even this coming year in the draft?
I think it's a byproduct of a couple of things. I think the wide receivers that were on the market, I don't know if they struck me as superstars that would command that kind of money, like big-time money. I didn't see them as Odell Beckham Jr. types, Michael Thomas types. I don't think they had those kinds of resumes. I think you had a lot of guys that you were projecting to go from the number 2 role to the number 1 role, which is why you saw Juju Smith-Schuster sign for the deal that he signed, because he only averaged 8 yards a catch. Like, how much money are you willing to fork over for someone who doesn't necessarily move the chains consistently or isn't a big play threat? But they also are hampered by the fact that I believe wide receivers are just like running backs. Like, there's been this movement to not draft a running back in the first round. I don't believe you need to draft a wide receiver in the first round because there's so many. You can find them on day 2. You can find guys on day 2 that can come into the league immediately and star. Michael Thomas, A.J. Brown, Terry McLaurin, the list goes on and on and on. And because teams are realizing that you can find this, like, these playmakers at every level of the draft that can hit it right away, I think they're saying we're not going to pay veterans unless you are a star at wide receiver. And we may not commit a top draft pick to you because we know that we can find someone that can come in and make an immediate impact, and it doesn't necessarily need to be a first rounder.
Bucky Brooks, NFL Network analyst. You going to keep up the work with Jaguars.com this upcoming season?
Yeah, I hope so. It's been a lot of fun. It's been a lot of fun reconnecting with the Jags.
All right. Well, hopefully we'll be able to listen to you and watch you there as well. Here's the deal. Here's a little bit of advice, Bucky. And I know you don't know us well. You can hang out with JP and John Ogier and those guys, but if you're going to the bar, you might want to come with us. Those guys have alligator arms.
I'll remember that. I'll make sure I ask JP and those guys about that as well.
Yeah, no doubt. All right, man. Have a great weekend. Enjoy it. We appreciate your time.
All right. Thanks so much.
All right, Bucky Brooks here on Action Sports Shacks on ESPN 690. That is true, by the way. They do have alligator arms, especially Ogier. And
ouch! Shots
Austin,
fired.
Austin, here's the deal.
What up?
The problem I didn't want to tell him, if he comes to the bar with us, there's a really good chance he probably ends up in a fight. That's because of you, not me.
Dude, what are you? No, man, I'm the most easygoing person at a bar. What are you talking about? Brent, don't put my business out there like that when it's false. Come on, man.
Okay, well, it's probably more about me. I'll probably act like the tough guy because I got 6'6", 245 right there.
Now you're feeling too confident, right? If someone comes in rocking a Michael Jordan jersey, you say something about Larry Bird, and now we're fighting.
It's on.
It's
Game on.
Yeah.
Just make sure Blaine Gabbert's not driving.
That's true, yes.
We check up on our brackets coming up, and I've got a situation for you, and you got to play basketball coach, okay? You're an AAU guy.
Sure.
We're going to play basketball coach in a situation. I want to know which side you stand on. It's coming up with some updates from the NCAA tournament day 1. Remember, you can hear Florida State tomorrow afternoon right here on ESPN 690. Your home for the Noles in football and basketball. The Noles trying to make a run here in March. We'll be back on ESPN 690.
Now, the First Alert forecast on ESPN 690.
Partly to mostly sunny today, a bit cooler, but highs reaching the low 70s. An offshore breeze. Partly cloudy this evening, dry for your nighttime plans. Overnight lows near 50. With your First Alert forecast, I'm Action News Jax meteorologist Garrett Biedenball.
The Weather Center is brought to you by Beards Diamonds, where right now you can get 5 years, 0 interest financing with nothing down. Welcome to Moe's, and good morning at Moe's. In St. Augustine only at 312 and US 1, it's the only Moe's in the country serving breakfast burritos. Try it. You'll love it. Full breakfast menu only at the St. Augustine location. They put the fast in breakfast. Made to order in the drive-thru. Try the Home Wrecker breakfast burrito. Your choice of bacon, chicken, or steak with scrambled eggs, shredded cheese, and seasoned potatoes. Served daily at 6 a.m. St. Augustine location only. Make it a better morning with Moe's.
We should always be looking at our finances, but 2020 made my family take an even closer look, a bit more of a deeper dive, and it might have done the same for you, even into the world of retirement. Although that's a bit down the road for me, it might be closer for you, and your plan should already be under a microscope, and you have to lean on the experts to help guide the right plan. My friend Mike Lester with Talon Wealth Management is the perfect partner. He will provide a complimentary analysis and a plan for you. Call him at 904-515-5000 or visit guardingyournestegg.com. That's 904-515-5000 or guardingyournestegg.com. Mike will give you the guidance you need as retirement gets closer. He can help you convert company plans to private plans, a move that might give you higher returns and more options. You've earned the money. Now make sure you are ready for whenever retirement will be. Call Mike Lester at Talon Wealth Management, 904-515-5000. That's 904-515-5000. Or visit guardingyournestegg.com.
For the ones finding new ways to ensure the job always gets done. For the ones wearing many hats. For the ones who are hands-on, even from far away. and the ones keeping business moving forward. We are Grainger, offering supplies and solutions for every industry, with 24/7 support and experienced staff at over 250 local branches. Call, clickgrainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Welcome to Moe's and good morning at Moe's. In St. Augustine only at 312 and US 1, it's the only Moe's in the country serving breakfast burritos. Try it. You'll love it. Full breakfast menu only at the St. Augustine location. They put the fast in breakfast. Made to order in the drive-thru. Try the Home Wrecker breakfast burrito. Your choice of bacon, chicken, or steak with scrambled eggs, shredded cheese, and seasoned potatoes. Served daily at 6 a.m. St. Augustine location only. Make it a better morning with Moe's.
Join the movement to end colon cancer. March to Get Screened is celebrating its 12th year supporting colon cancer awareness and life-saving screenings. Held on March 28th, March to Get Screened is a family affair including a 5K race, a 1-mile fun run, and fun activities for all. Safety measures will be in place as well as virtual participation options. All proceeds benefit the nonprofit Borland Groover Foundation. Register today, donate, or for more information, head to marchtoGetScreened.com. That's marchtoGetScreened.com.
Life is complicated. We all know it, and all can use the proper support system. You know what else can be complicated? Owning a home. And that's why Rex was built to go beyond the simple real estate transaction. Full-service agents for buying and selling, mortgage services, insurance quotes, escrow and title, even home repair. All one call away. I guess you could call Rex your home support system and not a typical brokerage. Call 833-REX-HOME. That's 833-739-4663. Want more? Of course you do. With all that convenience comes reduced fees, too. In fact, the average Rex homeowner saves over $10,000 when buying and selling a home. Want to get started? It's never too soon. Call 833-REX-HOME. That's 833-739-4663. 833-739-4663. Florida license number CQ1057788. For further licensing disclosures, please visit rexhomes.com.
They just don't make them like they used to.
People say that a lot, and sometimes it's true, but not for air conditioners. Manufacturers actually make them better than they used to. It's just that local AC companies don't install them like they ought to. Old school rules of thumb and yesterday's shortcuts simply sabotage new school systems. Can new technology give you more comfort with longer service life? Only if the AC tech knows how to properly engineer it for your home and how to install it right. So techs that don't understand inverters, low voltage controls, and how to configure the software, dip switches, and refrigerant charge for Florida humidity, they'll totally turn it into turd buckets, especially if they just do a swap the box install without fixing your ductwork and airflow. My point, the better the technology, the more important the install. At Griffith Service, we fix what others can't, but it's best to have us install it right from the beginning. So if your new system ain't working right or your old one needs replacing, call
GriffinService.com.
1250-697.
Ready, set, go to Arlington Toyota today. It's the Ready, Set, Go sales event starting now, which means it's your time to save on over 400 new Toyotas on the lot at Arlington Toyota. Right now at Arlington, take your pick. A new 2021 RAV4 LE or a new 2021 Tacoma SR Double Cab. You choose. 0 down or buy for just $299 a month. This is a purchase, not a lease. It's the Ready, Set, Go sales event at Arlington Toyota. Shop safely in person, 10939 Atlantic Boulevard, or online at arlingtontoyota.com. Visit arlingtontoyota.com/March for full details.
Where else can you get lunch and brunch and booze and specials? Only one place, at Culhane's Irish Pub at Atlantic Beach and on the south side. It's as Irish as you can get, owned by 4 Irish sisters. And they've got fish and chips, of course, shepherd's pie. Go today for lunch or dinner. Eat in, order out. Culhane'sIrishPub.com for the full menu. And try the new 5 Sisters vodka at happy hour. Lunch and brunch and booze and specials and so much more. 2 locations, Atlantic Beach and the south side. Culhane's Irish Pub, Irish Sass with 5-star class.
Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Austin Lane from Action Sports Jackson, ESPN 690. Social distancing doesn't mean disconnecting. If you're working from home, keep tabs on the world of sports and Action Sports Jacks on your smart speaker. Tell your Amazon Echo or Google Home, play ESPN 690.
Brent Martineau.
They probably already have one. Cornholing.
Austin Lane.
You're going to have a call from PR in a little bit here.
Action Sports Jacks on ESPN 690.
It wasn't recent, but it was back when we were living in Gainesville, Florida. So our special guest, Dad, there's this thing called Gator Growl. A musician or a band usually comes in and performs for a big crowd of people. And so Dad was just finishing up for practice. And it was me, Dad, Mom was there. And so the manager of the band comes over to Mom and says, hey, Leonard Skinnard, that's who was playing that year, wants to meet Coach.
Leonard Skinnard, everyone in the English-speaking language knows who that is.
All but one.
And so Dad, Mom, and I are walking over backstage to go meet them. As we're walking backstage, Dad goes, which one is he?
Charlie Strong and I, we got a big game coming up, and I live in a cocoon, and so the band wanted to meet us. And so I said, what's the name of the band? And they said, Leonard Skinnard. I didn't recognize the name of the band. And so all of a sudden they're playing Sweet Home Alabama and some other great songs. I said, oh, yeah, I understand that. Oh, yeah, that's great music. And we're walking over this little bridge. And the manager, Charlie Strong, and myself are walking. And I said, man, these guys can't wait to meet you, Coach. And I said, great. And I said, wow, that's great music. I go, which one is he? And the manager looks at me and stops. And I don't think he said, you idiot, but I can tell his look said, that's the name of the band, not the person.
That's good stuff. Oh, by the way, maybe Herbs and I are more alike.
Yeah, you very well might be, man.
I could have done something similar. Now, probably not with Leonard Skinner, but I could do that.
The Beatles?
Yeah. No,
you know Ringo is and stuff if you saw him.
Yeah, but I wouldn't know there was a difference between like the group name and like, okay, which one is he kind of thing. But
yeah.
I could have certainly say which one is he for like Paul McCartney probably. I mean, I know who that is, but it would be blasphemous, no doubt about it. So Urban Meyer, that is from, I believe, Kuz, you took this from the Team Meyer podcast.
Yes, his daughter's podcast.
Yeah, Kuz is everywhere with this.
He joined his daughter's podcast. And so that will be an interesting thing to follow. Team Meyer podcast. A lot of people in the podcast world and Urban Meyer join him. Hopefully it wasn't tough to get Dad as a guest.
No, you think that would be kind of like the opening guest you would have. You know, that's where all the sponsorships start coming in. That's where Omaha Steak starts coming in for the podcast.
I will say they're 7 episodes in before Dad gets on. So
oh, for real?
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Well, maybe it was tough to get Dad.
You never know. I'm sure he comes with a pretty high price tag.
I wonder if they have to go through PR.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Hey, kids, make a formal request. That's awesome. That's good stuff. I wonder if I wonder how often they'll join them. I wonder how revealing that will be.
Yeah.
I thought about, years ago, because the kids love talking sports. Like Kaylee will talk sports too. And so I was like, you know what? This podcast thing kind of is this be a fun thing to do. Nothing like, hey, just try to go make money off it or whatever. It'd just be a fun thing to do with the kids. Get like Ty and Kaylee talking sports. Like maybe they do a kid podcast type thing, twin podcast. So I set it up in the kitchen. And I didn't set anything up really. I just put like the phone out there and recorded. And I'm like, all right, guys, like I'll tee you up. You guys talk some sports.
Sure.
You guys know Tyler and Kaylee. It was like
wasn't
silence.
happening, huh? Yeah.
It was like you can get them if they're in the back of the car, especially when they were little. They're in the back seat and the Jags just played a game or the NCAA tournament's going on, whatever. I mean, Ty will be nonstop. Kaylee will talk baseball all the time. Like she knows everybody's lineup and what's going. They'll talk about it.
Yeah.
Throw the mic in front of it. They're like, no. I'm not doing this.
Well, so, maybe you got to start recording when they're sitting in the back seat, man.
I've done it.
When you're on the family vacation, start to hit the microphone. Let them record a little bit.
Oh, I've done. I have Ty and a couple. I have to go like really find them, probably off old phones and wherever I put it. But I have Ty. I have some really good Ty stuff that I kind of recorded on because he's just like yapping away, man.
Yeah.
And one of them's like. I drilled Scobie one time. It was something about Scobie, but he was kind of ripping Scobie.
Oh, wow.
He had like missed a kick or something like that. And so I think I showed Scobie, but he was like 7.
Yeah. Dang.
It was
tough
funny.
crowd.
Yeah. Oh yeah, tough. He didn't know. He wasn't playing.
Was this when Scobie was in Pittsburgh, or was it when he was in?
No, he was with the Jags. It wasn't that. It was
because I mean, if you're in Pittsburgh, yeah, I guess so. But
he quietly was. It wasn't like it was a constant ripping, but like as he's talking about the game, he kind of was like, "Yeah, what was that, Josh?"
Jeez.
So, family podcast, man. It could be a thing. Not my family.
Yeah.
They know sports. They don't like to talk sports. Not when a microphone's hot.
Well, I know the Golics have like their own family podcast.
They
It's
do.
like 10 of them, though. It's,
Yeah.
That's a lot of microphones and a lot of airtime.
Yeah, I think some of them can really be probably really good,
Yeah.
really be good. And what do you want to reveal, though? I think that would be an interesting one for the Meyers. Although Urban's written so many books now that I would imagine most of the things are out there. I mean, there's probably a lot that's not revealed and maybe won't be even on the podcast. But I don't know. Kuz, did you listen to more of that podcast? Is it really more about them than it is about maybe like the family background?
I'm going to be honest. That was the very first thing they said on the podcast.
Oh, it was? Okay.
Yeah, so I haven't gotten further than that.
Well, it's called the Team Meyer Podcast, so check it out, download it, subscribe it. I mean, free publicity right there to see the latest from Urban Meyer. He is doing a lot of media. Good Morning Football this morning, obviously all these news conferences. Certainly has not shied away from that. Urban Meyer has not. All right, I'll get into the tournament. I'll give you some scoring updates, and I do want to get to this coaching philosophy. You're the coach, Austin Lane. Kuz, you're the coach as well. Get ready to put your coaching hat on and roam the sidelines when we get back on ESPN 690.
ESPN 690 SportsCenter update.
Happy Friday. I'm Jake Mitchell. Houston Texans quarterback Deshaun Watson is facing a third allegation of sexual misconduct. The first two accusations are linked to civil suits, but the woman's attorney, Tony Busby, says that he has been in contact with the police and, quote, will be sending them a package with info on the cases. Busby also says that there are a total of 9 cases so far, and these are just the first 3 to come forward. Here's Adam Schefter, ESPN NFL insider, with an update.
And when we talk about teams that would be interested in Deshaun Watson, I think that they also are monitoring the situation, gathering information. They will be in consultation with the NFL office, but don't think that this is going to deter anybody's interest in Deshaun Watson if they are or considering a trade for him.
Keelan Cole, Jags' former wide receiver, has moved on to the Big Apple and the New York Jets, signing a 1-year, $5.5 million deal. The Sports Center Update is brought to you by Morgan & Morgan. Morgan & Morgan, for the people.
CGC Water has been telling you if you're not filtering your water, you are the filter. Still not a believer? Well, you can believe me. My family has been a happy CGC Water customer for 4 years now. Customer service is tremendous. We got our water tested. We were told about our options in financing in detail. No pressure, just information. Installation was quick, and the CGC team was there every step of the way. And we absolutely love it. Because it works. Heck, I even think my coffee tastes better because of it. And I love my coffee. A Connecticut system from CGC Water removes up to 99% of contaminants. That's clean. Schedule your free water test today and ask how you can save up to $500. CGC is still taking extra precautions with in-home visits and continuing to follow CDC guidelines. Financing available with approved credit. Call 904-552-1242 for details or visit cgcwater.com. Serving Northeast Florida and Southeast Georgia. CGC Water Treatment, your local independent Connecticut dealer.
We should always be looking at our finances, but 2020 made my family take an even closer look, a bit more of a deeper dive, and it might have done the same for you, even into the world of retirement. Although that's a bit down the road for me, it might be closer for you, and your plan should already be under a microscope, and you have to lean on the experts to help guide the right plan. My friend Mike Lester with Talon Wealth Management is the perfect partner. He will provide a complimentary analysis and a plan for you. Call him at 904-515-5000 or visit guardingyournestegg.com. That's 904-515-5000 or guardingyournestegg.com. Mike will give you the guidance you need as retirement gets closer. He can help you convert company plans to private plans, a move that might give you higher returns and more options. You've earned the money. Now make sure you are ready for whenever retirement will be. Call Mike Lester at Talon Wealth Management, 904-515-5000. That's 904-515-5000 or visit guardingyournestegg.com.
Shred your goals this year with the new Metabolism Boost Banana Passion Fruit Smoothie from Smoothie King. At only 240 calories and 14 grams of protein per 20 ounces, this crave-controlling meal smoothie has non-GMO whole fruits, naturally derived caffeine, and absolutely no syrups. Or try strawberry pineapple or mango ginger. Start your healthier habit and order online at smoothieking.com. Now for pickup or delivery at any of the Jacksonville area locations. Smoothie King, rule the day.
The March to Get Screened 5K, sponsored by the Borland Groover Foundation, is coming up March 28th. It's Rich Jones. Join me to raise funds for colon cancer awareness, life-saving screenings, and more. Check it all out at marchtogetscreened.com.
There is a taste of the islands in every drop of Vida de Luis tequila, imported directly from Tequila, Mexico to Jacksonville Beach. Vida de Luis is the only locally owned tequila in Jax Beach. Support local and try Vida de Luis. Award-winning, smooth, all natural, no aldehydes or additives, which means wake up feeling good the next morning. Find out where you can pick up a bottle of Vida de Luis, Blanco, Reposado, or Añejo. Just visit VitaDeLuis.com. Support local and taste the islands in every drop.
Honda of the Avenues is the winner of the 2021 Dealer Rater Consumer Satisfaction Award, and you'll be satisfied too with the great deals happening in their service department. Honda of the Avenues has a 5% discount for seniors all the time and 10% military discounts. Plus, Ladies' Day is every Wednesday in the service department. That includes a free tire rotation with oil change and 5% off any other recommended service. See why so many people are giving Honda of the Avenues 5 stars. Find out more at HondaoftheAvenues.com.
Spay or neuter your pet. Help them live a longer, happy life. First Coast No More Homeless Pets has free and low-cost programs available now. Make your appointment today. Call 425-0005, 425-0005, or fcnmhp.org.
Have you wanted to speak a new language, but thought it would be too difficult? Then try Babbel. Babbel starts by teaching you words and phrases that gradually get more complex. Soon, you're practicing short conversations. So in 15 minutes a day, you'll be speaking a new language in a few weeks. Babbel is built around real life. It teaches you practical conversations that you will actually use. Babbel, language for life. Celebrating 10 million subscriptions sold. Now try Babbel for free. Just go to Babbel.com today. That's BABBEL.com.
Hey everybody, it's Brent Martineau from Action Sports Jacks. There's a good chance you have a smart speaker, so use it with the ESPN 690. Stay up to date on the Jags and all things sports by telling Alexa or Google to play ESPN 690. It's as easy as that. Make sure you listen weekdays 3 until 6 p.m. on ESPN 690.
I didn't know Josh. That was our personnel side that made that decision and ran it by me before we did it. I agreed. So I just didn't know a lot about him, and I know he's had some injuries since he's been here, and we decided to make that move.
That's Urban Meyer on Josh Oliver. Brent Martineau down here in Southwest Florida. Austin Lane back in the Action Sports Shack studios. Here on a Friday, hope you're doing well. Check out the NCAA bracket coming up in a moment. Ohio State against the ropes now in the first round. They'll play the Gators in the second round if they advance, but they are in a close one against 15 seed Oral Roberts. We'll get to the tournament in just a moment. Real quick thought on Josh Oliver, Austin. That was an interesting explanation. I don't know how much of one it was, which often I think that means there's maybe a little bit more behind the scenes that they just don't want to reveal in terms of the way they viewed Josh Oliver. Nobody wants to say anything bad about anyone. I'm just surmising that, but that was an interesting explanation on the trade to the Ravens.
Yeah, I mean, we broke it down a lot, and I just think that, it helps to see for yourself. It helps to see the sample for yourself, and with Josh Oliver, you haven't really seen anything because he's been injured. Now, whether that's a lack of, preparation, maybe there's a mindset, I don't know. There's a lot of things that can go into it. But if I was a new coach coming in, I would want to see it for myself. And, yeah, I get that you trust people with what they say, and maybe some of the former regime or somebody said something about Josh Oliver. But at the same time, when I'm evaluating talent and I'm taking in the count every single guy on this roster, I need to see it for myself. And I haven't seen anything from Josh Oliver, so I might as well at least give him a chance to prove me wrong until he can't, and then we let him go because a seventh-round pick is a seventh-round pick.
Hey, Gators taking overtime today because they did not foul while they were up by 3 points. Put your coach hat on. Where do you stand on this from a philosophical point of view? You're up by 3 late in the game, inside 10 seconds, inside 7 seconds, inside 5 seconds. Do you foul or do you let it play out?
You're saying if I'm down, obviously, I foul?
No, you're up. You're up. You're up by 3.
Yeah.
Do you foul, put them on the line so they can't shoot a three-pointer and tie it?
Oh,
I mean, where do you fall in that philosophy?
No,
You're the coach.
Yeah, no, I'm going to let them play it out.
Really?
Yeah.
I fouled.
No, because then you get the risk of then they make the first one, miss the second one, and all of a sudden it's a close shot to the basket. Yeah. I'd rather play the odds and say, all right, you have to make a three-pointer from farther away. We're playing good defense.
Well, this day and age, though, the three-pointer, the odds is like 40%, you know? I mean, that's not bad odds.
Depends who's shooting it.
Yeah, I know. That's true, too. Kuz, I think a lot of people fall in your line, and a lot of Gator fans did at the moment. I think it can be dangerous, too, because if you follow in the act of shooting, now you might be in trouble as well. But I don't even think about it like that. I think fouling in that spot kind of hurts a little bit of the integrity of the game. Like, just, let it play out. Play defense. Beat them. You know, don't try to craft a way to beat them. And that sounds like a loser mentality in a way, because you can do it, and sometimes it's the best way to do it, and all that matters is you walk away with a W. But as a viewer, I kind of want to see them let it play. I hate when people foul in that situation.
I also think it depends on, obviously, the time. Like, if it's
got to be like under 5 seconds.
Right,
you know?
exactly. Yeah. So that you take any chance away. But, yes, the even if there is a, make the first one, miss the second, there's only a few seconds to really try to get something up.
Well, it's hard to argue. I mean, the Gators should have done it because they gave up a tying 3 instead, and they walked away with a win in overtime as well. We'll update you on the Ohio State game. Football at 5 coming up as well. One more hour in this free agency week. Here from Southwest Florida, the Action Sports Jack Studios back in Jacksonville, right here on ESPN 690.
Life is complicated. We all know it, and all can use the proper support system. You know what else can be complicated? Owning a home. And that's why Rex was built to go beyond the simple real estate transaction. Full-service agents for buying and selling, mortgage services, insurance quotes, escrow and title, even home repair, all one call away. I guess you could call Rex your home support system and not a typical brokerage. Call 833-REX-HOME. That's 833-739-4663. Want more? Of course you do. With all that convenience comes reduced fees, too. In fact, the average Rex homeowner saves over $10,000 when buying and selling a home. Want to get started? It's never too soon. Call 833-REX-HOME. That's 833-739-4663. 833-739-4663. Florida license number CQ1057788. For further licensing disclosures, please visit rexhomes.com.
Where else can you get luncheon, brunchin', boozin' specials? Only one place, at Colhane's Irish Pub at Atlantic Beach and on the south side. It's as Irish as you can get, owned by 4 Irish sisters. And they've got fish and chips, of course, shepherd's pie. Go today for lunch or dinner. Eat in, order out. ColhainesIrishPub.com for the full menu. And try the new 5 Sisters vodka at happy hour. Luncheon, brunchin', boozin' specials, and so much more. 2 locations, Atlantic Beach and the south side. Colhane's Irish Pub, Irish sass with 5-star class.
ESPN 690 is home for the Florida Sportsman Fishing Show, hosted by Captain Rick Riles. Tune in every Saturday morning from 7 to 9 a.m. to find out what's biting now. Fishing so fresh, you can almost smell it.
For the ones who know safety isn't a catchphrase, it's a culture. And the ones who help make sure everyone makes it home safe. For the safety-minded who watch everyone's backs, Grainger offers supplies and solutions for every industry, as well as safety assessments and training to keep your facilities safe and your people safer. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Have you seen it? The all-new showroom at Arlington Toyota is open, and they're ready to celebrate with big savings, even on pre-owned. Celebrate savings and hearing the words, "You're approved." That's right. With Arlington's Credit for Everyone program, if your Beacon score is from 450 to 850, almost everyone is approved. Plus, if you want selection, Arlington's got it. With over 400 pre-owned on the lot, what are you waiting for? Celebrate with savings and come see the brand new facility at Arlington Toyota Pre-Owned, 10939 Atlantic Boulevard, or online at arlingtontoyota.com.
Need ammo? Grab your friends and come to the gun show. Get them while you still can. Hundreds of guns, knives, and more with concealed carry classes daily. USA Gun Shows is coming to the National Guard Armory in Lake City this weekend. Follow USA Gun Shows on Facebook and online at usagunshows.com.
Welcome to Moe's and good morning at Moe's. In St. Augustine only at 312 and US 1, it's the only Moe's in the country serving breakfast burritos. Try it. You'll love it. Full breakfast menu only at the St. Augustine location. They put the fast in breakfast. Made to order in the drive-thru. Try the Home Wrecker breakfast burrito. Your choice of bacon, chicken, or steak with scrambled eggs, shredded cheese, and seasoned potatoes. Served daily at 6 a.m. St. Augustine location only. Make it a better morning with Moe's.
It's time for some straight talk.
Your tax return could look different this year, but you're still going to hear a lot of noise about how to spend it. So when the big carriers tell you to splurge on the latest nonsense, just tune it out. With Straight Talk, you can get a Samsung Galaxy A51 for just $199. Plus, get the $45 unlimited talk, text, and data plan with no contract on America's best networks for up to 50% less. Tune out the nonsense and tune in to Straight Talk. Straight Talk Wireless. No contract, no compromise.
Goodyear knows why we all love basketball. It's the sound of the buzzer, the roar of the crowd, the swish of the net. It's the spin on the ball as it's released, the squeaking sneakers before an inbound pass, the timeout that gives us perspective on the moment. We love basketball because we love movement. And so we're asking you, the fans, what moves you? Goodyear, more driven.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Doug Brown. Florida and Virginia Tech needed overtime today in the first round of the NCAA tournament.
Man with it just left to center. Shot clock at 9. Dribbles right off a Castleton screen. Trying to turn the corner. Steps back 3 from the wing. Good. Trey Mann hit it. 22.9 to go. And a quick timeout taken by Florida.
Ryan Ratke on the Westwood One NCAA radio network. Trey Mann with a big shot late in OT. Colin Castleton with 19 points and 14 boards. Florida wins 75-70. Among the other finals today, Texas Tech beats Utah State 65-53. Arkansas over Colgate 85-68. Tight one coming down the stretch. 15 seconds to play. Ohio State leads Oral Roberts 64-63. The last team to arrive for the tournament, Virginia, arriving today. A positive COVID-19 test forced the Cavaliers out of the ACC tournament last week. They will play a first-round game against Ohio State tomorrow night.
What? Just 15 seconds to talk about Twisted Tea Hard Iced Tea? That smooth taste of real brewed iced tea with just the right kick of alcohol? What? We started already? Twisted Tea Hard Iced Tea. Look for it in the bright yellow cans. Twisted Tea Brewing Company, Cincinnati, Ohio. Please drink responsibly.
Broadcasting live from the ESPN 690 Anajar and Levine studios. Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 904-600-4000. That's 904-600-4000. ESPN 690. Jacksonville's home for ESPN Radio. WOKV Jacksonville. Listen live everywhere you go on ESPN690.com. ESPN 690, a Cox Media Group station. Broadcasting live from the ESPN 690 Anajar and Levine studios.
This is Action Sports Jacks on ESPN 690 with Brent Martineau and Austin Lane.
Yeah, I remember it is new. I see that. I said, go get him. I want that guy. Go get him. In recruiting, we would have a recruiting meeting and identify the best players. Say, go get him. And then all of a sudden, I start finding out this guy cost $28 million. This guy cost. I knew it. To say I didn't know it, of course I knew it. But just the way you put that puzzle together about here's your cap space, here's your choices. Can we take him, but we get 3 of these guys to help? And so I imagine once you build your roster exactly the way you want it, then you can take one guy and go get that, the $25 million athlete. We're not in position to do that right now.
That is Urban Meyer today talking about free agency. And we've been talking about it all week long. This was an opportunity for the Jaguars really to take a step, get better, at least on paper, and start closing the gap between them and the rest of the NFL. When you're 1-15, you have the number 1 overall pick, there's a gap. And the big gap closer will be April 29th with the first overall pick and a franchise quarterback. But overall, Austin Lane, you think the Jags did a pretty good job? I mean, again, very quiet now. So while it's not definitely in the books, it's kind of in the books. And it feels like, hey, attention has turned to the draft. You think Urban Meyer, they're going to say they feel good about it. They better. If they don't have confidence, who else should? But I think even the fan base feels pretty good. I mean, you take Monday afternoon when we're heading to the show and we thought we were going to be on the couch all afternoon and how that flipped. Into Tuesday, and they start adding all these players. Shaquille Griffin was one of their big gets as well. I mean, I think even the fan base feels pretty good about what they did with this hesitation because of the lack of the tight end.
Yeah, I think the fan base feels good about it. As far as I feel, I mean, I would probably give it an overall a B. Obviously, you didn't address one of the most one of the most biggest needs. Sorry, I'm watching this Ohio State game, and I'm so flustered.
Watching.
Right? I can't because
it's overtime.
Yeah, but they're in the Final Four. They're in my Final Four, so can't stop watching. So committed to it. But with that being said, I think at the tight end position, it's lacking, right? And that was one of the biggest needs for this team. They didn't address that, so you get a B. And it is what it is. Now you can start addressing that in the draft, and we'll see what happens. Zach Ertz still out there, obviously, as well. There could be a different guy, on the cusp of getting traded as well. We'll see what happens. But I give it a B just because you didn't address one of your biggest needs.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I mean, listen, it's okay to be critical of the Jags not getting the tight end. Whether you wanted Jonnu Smith, whether you wanted Hunter Henry, whether you wanted even late in the game a Gerald Everett or heck a Kyle Rudolph or somebody. Somebody, if you wanted somebody. Man Hurts, okay. So I think if we instead of getting caught up, and I'm the president of the Sunshine and Rainbows Club, and I don't want to just buy in and lock in and all this stuff to what they're doing and say, oh, yeah, that was right. Yeah, that's good. I can sign off on a lot of the things that they did. I think I like the way they went about this. They didn't just send this splash message of we're going to go spend it because we got it. No, I think this was a tactical view of how they built this roster and really retransformed this roster in Jacksonville. But if we go back to the beginning stages of what we were talking about as free agency kicked off, it was going to feel like a loss if they didn't get Jonnu Smith or Hunter Henry. Now in hindsight, I don't know if I feel like it feels like a loss, Austin, but it certainly doesn't feel like this slam dunk win, A+, so I think you're right in the right boat. I think you could go B. If you wanted to be critical, you could even go like a B-, because when you take your defense and you remake it, it had to be done because it was embarrassing the last couple of years. Your defensive front really needed a lot of work. They did it. They put a lot of attention on it. Urban Meyer, if you're just catching up, even said this morning he thinks right now on paper that is a top fourth of the league defensive line. That's how strongly they feel about it. Well, if you say that was a huge need, we also know the tight end room was a huge need. And so you come out of free agency and you're like, it was this and it's now this. Oh, boy, you can't sit. I mean, that's like an F on the tight end room. So that is going to bring your grade down. So I'm with you, man. I think a B even. I don't feel over the moon about this. But I feel like this was a solid approach. And in a risky business that free agency is, sometimes slow and steady wins the day rather than just going to make slam dunk moves left and right.
Yeah, but at the same time, you have to address the needs that need to be filled, and he didn't address the tight end. So, yeah, I think B is more than fair. Obviously, I think in terms of the number of guys that they've acquired, that helps out a lot. That makes you excited because, let's be honest, and I don't care how great of a coach you are, and Urban Meyer might be one of the best in the NFL. We'll see. But you can only do so much. And I know that he shares the philosophy of, there's no such thing as bad players, right? Only bad coaches. And, yeah, I agree with that to a fault. But at the same time, if you have a roster full of guys that played on a 115 team, odds are that roster of talent isn't that good. So you brought in as many guys as possible to change that roster around. That's what I like.
Yeah, well, speaking of slam dunks, so you doing okay over there? Because it's uh-oh time for Ohio State. They're in overtime and down a couple, right?
Yeah, they're down 2 with 4 minutes left. Relax. It's going to be okay.
You're telling me to react. You couldn't even talk a minute ago.
No, that's because they're going for the win. They shot a 3-pointer at the buzzer, and I was mad because the guy didn't even come close, it seemed like.
So here's the deal. Ohio State's in overtime against Oral Roberts. How about that little portion of the bracket? Florida won it in overtime over Virginia Tech earlier today to kick off the NCAA tournament. And now they'll face the winner of this game. And if you're a Gator fan, you're like, Oral Roberts, all right, bring them on. Like, I know they might be good enough to beat Ohio State, but I'd rather play Oral Roberts, a 15
I'll tell you what,
than 2-seed Ohio State.
If these refs don't get it together and start calling these over the backs, this is ridiculous.
It's 69 to 64.
The fix is in right now in Indianapolis, ladies and gentlemen. Oral Roberts has paid off the refs. I can't believe what I just saw. Ohio State, you better step it up. Big Ten, let's go.
Wow. I talked about this earlier, Austin. I was saying that it's hard to go toe-to-toe with a better team, better athletes, all that stuff. Listen, it can happen. We've seen it happen. It's happened a bunch, especially in the 15-2 world. I think I just saw a graphic. It happened like 7 or 8 times in the history of the event. And obviously 16-1 only one time, and then you go 14-3, and it's a lot more frequent. But so it can happen. But I do think if when you're a 15 seed versus the 2 seed, usually that 2 seed has depth, has better athletes, has better everything. And so you can hang with them for 20 minutes. You can hang with them for 25, 30, even 35. But then you run out of gas along the way. You have to extend so much energy. Well, now Oral Roberts here sending this game to overtime. They've still got the energy, man, because under 3 minutes to go, they're up by 3.
Yeah, it's great. It's awesome. Where's Oral Roberts? Where are they located? Do we even know where that is?
That's a good question. My phone just died, so I'm not going to be able to
Kuz,
tell
can
you.
I really don't want to turn off the channel here, but I can if need be. I'm glued right now. And I even know what their mascot is. I have no
Oral Roberts, I think they're the Golden Eagles.
Okay. I have no idea where Oral Roberts
I'm all
is.
over these mascots these days, I
You're
think.
good,
So
man.
tell me I'm right. Tell me I'm right
good.
on the Golden Eagles.
Oral Roberts, but Sabritos, that's huge. Kuz, what do you got for me?
I think Oklahoma. Hold on.
I think you're right. I was going to say Texas, but I do believe they're in Oklahoma.
Yeah, Tulsa. Does that sound right?
Tulsa, yeah. That
Tulsa,
sounds right.
Oklahoma.
Okay,
I
so
think
it's in
that's where they are.
Oklahoma. Okay.
What are they the Golden Eagles, Kuz?
You're asking a lot of them. I mean,
yeah,
I'm looking at their logo, and it looks like an eagle. That's gold, so you might be right.
Okay.
Yep.
Hey. Looking
I
at
don't
the
know.
logo, and it says, looks like an eagle that is gold.
Well,
Therefore,
yeah.
Golden Eagles.
I mean, what
Very
do you want me to
good.
tell you, man? It could be the yellow Eagles. It could be the tan Eagles. It might be like the I can't think of any of the words. Sorry, man. I'm just so
Their mascot is Eli. Thank you very much.
Eli.
Eli,
And
the Golden
Eli
Eagle.
is a golden eagle.
Okay,
Yeah, there
nice.
you go.
Nice.
Very good. Hey, how locked in? Kuz, you're an NBA guy.
Yeah.
So, did you fill out a bracket? Do you care about college basketball? Like, where are you at?
Yeah, I do care about college basketball, but only right around, now. I don't necessarily care about it when it's not March Madness. And then once March Madness is over, I dive in more with where players might be drafted and start looking towards the draft type stuff.
Yeah.
But for the March Madness is the only part that I kind of get hyped about.
Did Austin just hit the microphone out of disappointment?
Yes.
I could kind of
Through
visualize
my phone.
that.
Yeah, through my phone.
So what do we got? What's the score? My
I don't know.
phone's dead.
It's in commercial right
It's
now.
in commercial right now.
Okay, I'm glad you brought that up. The commercial
Domino's
business.
has some cheesy bread coming out. Be on the lookout for that.
We just had about a 5-minute commercial break, right? And so I'm down here in Southwest Florida at my in-laws. They come down for a few months. We pop down during the kids' spring break for a few days. And so great spot, right? On the Gulf. Beautiful.
Yeah, it looks very nice in the video.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's a tremendous spot. But so, like, the inside is literally 4 feet away. And so that's where the TV is. And I go in there during our break, and I think the break's like 5 minutes long. And it's got we're at like 40 seconds to go in the regulation with Ohio State leading. And there's a timeout. They come back and play for like 5 seconds. There's a timeout. I mean, the end of college basketball games are ridiculously and painfully long.
NBA is like that a lot too.
It is. NBA can be like that big time because they have so many timeouts in their back pocket. You got the half court stuff that they, so that goes back and forth. You can, if you take a timeout, you can advance to half court. It's painfully slow. And then you add a review or two in now, and the end of college basketball games. Why doesn't anybody complain about that? I bet they do. Everybody talks about like the length of baseball games and everything else. The end of a sporting contest in basketball takes forever. It's like hanging around for the end of the movie, but you got to hang for an extra 40 minutes.
Yeah, for sure. But I think at the same time, though, like it's usually nonstop excitement, right? It's like, I mean, if you're a fan of the team, then it's going to drive you crazy.
It's a cliffhanger.
Yeah.
It looks like the last time Oral Roberts has won in March in a March Madness tournament is 1974.
It's good for them. It's awesome.
I guess that would be a little surprising because I feel like I've heard Oral Roberts
They've been they were in 84, 2006, 2007, and 2008, but did not win in those.
Okay. Did they play? Hey, give me one more. Let's see how good I am here. Did they play in like the Summit League?
Is
that still a league?
Yes. Hold on. It says, I think so. I think you're correct. In 2012, they were the conference regular season champs in the Summit.
Yeah, see that? Now, who knows? 8 years later, are they still in the Summit League? 9 years later.
Well, it says 2021 Summit League Conference Tournament champs, so I think
there we
so.
Go. There we go. Summit League it is. Hey, Austin, are you locked in this weekend watching this, or are you going to flip on like wrestling tonight instead?
No, I mean, come on, man. I got more than one option. I'll probably have like a the tri-box, trifecta bot, whatever that's called. I'll probably have 2 games going, and then I'll have wrestling going as well, and then my son will probably have some YouTube videos on his iPad, and my wife will probably just be reading her book, wondering what she did with her life to deserve this type of torture. But hey,
it's a good book.
Well, you know what I say though. Sorry, babe. Gotta do it for work. Gotta do my homework. Sorry. I understand, the new season of Bachelor, whatever's coming on, but we don't talk about The Bachelor for my job. We talk about sports. Gotta watch the tournament.
Wait till my fiance just got into Mortgage or Marriage, which is a new show that they have 2 people. They pitch them on buying a house and pitch them on getting married, and then the couple decides on whether or not they go with the mortgage or the marriage.
So basically, it's like, how much is your marriage worth to you?
Right.
Really?
So you're talking about actually getting married or spending a lot on the wedding?
Yeah, well, so they'll pitch them on both. Like they'll tell them their budget, and they'll go through it, and then they decide whether or not they want to put that money that they've saved towards a house or towards a wedding.
The smart move here, folks, all the time is the mortgage.
Yeah, but my fiance was not happy when I said that. I said, "Of course you go house all day," and then she was like, "What?"
They get married later. The smart move is the mortgage. Hey, are you clapping over there? What's the score?
Hey, don't call it a comeback just at Ohio State.
Oh,
see, and then
sorry.
I don't appreciate.
What are we doing here? Like,
what do you mean?
You can't. This is radio. You can't
Brett,
just
you're
be like,
on vacation. What are you talking about? What are you doing?
Well, it needs an explanation.
Hey, seagulls and waves in the background. The audio quality's been crap for the past 2 hours. And you're going to yell at me what I'm doing right now?
That's good audio, by the way. And also, like, people know what I'm doing then. You can hear the waves crashing. They know where I am. It comes with no explanation. And Kuz also said the audio was fine.
Yeah, the audio is fine.
Well, Kuz lied to you.
No, the audio is fine.
All right. To some people, some people got better hearing, I guess, and you can hear waves and seagulls.
Yeah, you probably hear the waves and seagulls because your thing's turned up to like 12, and the thing only goes to 10.
Obviously, it is here. Kuz, I got you. Kuz, you got it. Kuz, look at me right now.
I'm sorry.
You got to put a garbage bag over this window because I can see your reactions and it's delayed. I'm gonna freak out.
That's why
I'm gonna go home.
Hey, listeners, I'm like you. I want to score. My phone died. The TV's over there. And these guys know what's going on, and they won't give us a score.
How about you being an adult and charge your cell phone?
Ohio State missed a very easy layup, and Oral Roberts got the rebound. It's 72-69. Oral Roberts. Austin's upset. There's 22.9 seconds on the clock in overtime.
You know what?
Who's got the ball?
Oral Roberts shooting a free throw. They just made it, so now it's 73-69 with 22 seconds left.
Oof.
I'll tell you what. Ohio State doesn't deserve to win this game. How many layups did they miss, Kuz?
Yeah, it feels like a lot.
Yeah.
Hey, this is a big...
Oh, okay. He just missed the second free throw. Gave him some life. I'm sorry.
You going play-by-play? You want to lay out of this, Austin? We'll let Kuz do play-by-play?
Don't make me do that. They just made a 3, so there you go.
Oh,
72-73, Buckeyes.
Buckeyes. Stop, Kuz.
Okay, I'm done.
Yeah, we need specifics.
They're at the free throw line still for me. So, he's 25 seconds ahead of me.
Well, I'm confused because Brent's telling me to give you play-by-play, but you don't want it.
This was not in the work email this morning, guys. We didn't go over any of this.
No, we didn't.
Yeah.
We really didn't go over anything.
Yeah, whatever.
So we got to this point. We'll see what happens. Hey, real quick, while that game finishes, and we'll be able to tell what happens by Austin's reaction as my guess, even without explanation.
Yeah, you're good.
Kind of like seagulls and waves in the background here.
Yes.
But Florida, I don't think is really good enough to make a run. But all of a sudden, if Oral Roberts were to win, now you're looking at a real chance for a Sweet 16. And some people will say, well, even if Ohio State wins, look at the way they played.
Yeah.
I think Ohio State's a lot better than Florida. And Florida had a gutsy win today, but I just don't feel like they're that good. They haven't lost a first-round game in over a decade. So check the box again in the first round. As for Florida State, a lot of people are high on Florida State, Austin.
Yeah.
It's almost like they've turned the corner where now they've become the team everybody wants to say should win, right, and should make a run. remember, this is a great coaching job by Hamilton once again, because they lost a lot of talent last year. They have a good basketball team. They don't have as good of a basketball team as they had last year. Like, that team could have won the national championship. I don't feel that strongly about this Florida State team, but they do have the goods to surprise some people and make a run. And because everybody thinks that, I'm like, they might be getting overhyped a little bit. You think there's any sense of that with FSU?
Yeah, no, for sure. I don't feel like they're overhyped right now. I feel like people aren't giving their just due. I think people forgot about last year a little bit. And I think Ohio State's, hang on, he's going to shoot a three. It's okay. The game's over.
Yeah,
Oral Roberts won. They had two easy open buckets at three-pointers. Ohio State couldn't convert. Little upset. Going to continue the conversation, though, about Florida State. I think Florida State, people are underestimating them just because they haven't watched a lot of ACC this year. The ACC's been down. It's been the talk of the Big Ten, obviously, even though Ohio State just got beat by Oral Roberts. So is the Big Ten really that legit? No. But I think with the Florida State, they have the capabilities to go far because they play disciplined basketball, and they have a lot of guys that can, catch fire at any time. And that's what you look for in the tournament. I think the Florida Gators, you saw it against Virginia Tech. The Florida Gators had 18 turnovers. Now, sometimes you have a bad game, but that's who the Florida Gators are. I think they're an undisciplined team, and I agree. I don't think they're going to go that far in the tournament. Now, they can get lucky and catch fire, but I don't see that happening. Now, I like them against Oral Roberts. We'll see with that game because Ohio State obviously got beat. Sure, a lot of people have that team in the Final Four. Who knows? But I think with Florida, no. Florida State, absolutely.
Down goes Ohio State. My favorite part of the last few minutes was when Kuz said, sorry. Like, he quietly said, sorry, because you just lost Ohio State deep into your bracket. He was like, felt bad for you, legitimately.
Well, Kuz, yeah, whatever, man.
Yeah.
Whatever,
Meanwhile,
sucks,
I'm kind of chuckling.
Sucks when it's Brent wants to put salt in the wound, and that's fine. He wants to spit his games. Who do you got in the Final Four, Brent? Who would you have?
I have Houston.
Yeah.
I have Baylor.
Okay.
I have Zaga.
Yeah.
And I have Texas.
Chalky McChalkerton, huh?
That would be a 1-1-2-3.
Hey, be a little more chalky next time, though.
What do you have?
I had LSU, Ohio State, Gonzaga, Illinois.
Okay, so 1-1-2, and what's LSU?
They're like an 8, I think.
No, they're not that low.
Yeah, they are. Kuz, look it up. I don't look at basketball anymore. I'm done with this tournament already. That is kind of refreshing. It's kind of refreshing when you're done. I'm not done, but I'm pretty much done when the Final Four team goes away. Kuz, you got the rankings? Here, I'll look it up, fine. I'll just bite the bullet. I got it.
Hey, by the way, Tennessee is getting beat by 16 right now.
Yeah, I had them
against
losing
Oregon
too.
State.
LSU's an 8 seed, sorry.
Yeah.
Oh, they are an 8. Okay, there you go, man. That's
it's
good
almost
for
like
you.
I know what I'm talking about sometimes.
Yeah, good for you. Well, if you picked up the Final Four, you probably should know.
Hey, I'm telling you right now, don't sleep on out as they get beat by St. Bonaventure tonight. I'm sure they will. But I'm telling you right now.
I actually have the Bonnies winning.
Okay, I'm telling you now, don't sleep on LSU. They're my sleeper, obviously going to the Final Four.
So
what do I know?
I've never done a survivor thing in the bracket. Have you ever done that? I've never done it.
I don't think so.
It's like a survivor pool with the NCAA tournament. Guess who I picked? You picked 2 teams today.
Yeah.
And I picked Arkansas, got away with that one. And I picked Tennessee. They're getting beat by 16 by Oregon State. They scored 17 points in the first half. How do you score 17 points in basketball in 20 minutes?
It happens, man.
You count every time you put it in the bucket, it counts for 2 and sometimes 3. How do you score 17?
Yeah. Well, I hear you. I'm just saying right now, though, my mascot bracket's looking pretty good because of, like I said, you can't be a nut and go in a cage and expect to get a win. So thank you, Oral Roberts. I might be undefeated right now, actually, in my mascot bracket. So I
that
still
says
have
a lot about your real bracket.
Yeah, it does. It does.
All right.
Sad day.
Hey, it's a Friday. Free agency in the books. I'm going to get to some of the folks' responses and what grade they gave the Jags coming up in the next segment. But before we do that, out here on the Gulf of Mexico, how about a little happy hour horn?
The good vibes. Taste the islands and every drop of Vida de Luis tequila. 100% blue agave. from Tequila, Mexico. Good vibes.
It's a celebration!
That's a celebration for Oral Roberts. Meanwhile, Austin needs a shot of Vida de Louis right about now. Taste the islands in every drop of Vida de Louis tequila, imported directly from Tequila, Mexico to Jacksonville Beach. Support local. Try Vida de Louis. Go to VitaDeLouis.com where you can pick up a bottle of Vida de Louis, Blanco, Reposado, or Añejo. Support local. Taste the islands in every drop. Happy hour right around the corner.
Do you know how we told you that you got to change the pictures on our brackets?
Yeah, because I accidentally posted the mascot one.
Gonna need you not to do that anymore. Gonna need you to keep those exact same brackets up. And by the way, Coos, if you care about me, because I could tell in your voice when I lost, you were. It's like my dog died, dude.
That was
you
genuine.
Felt really bad. Like you're feeling my pain, and I appreciate that.
I knew what was but the problem was I saw what happened.
Yeah.
And I knew I was just waiting for your reaction for it. I went, oh, this is going to be so disappointing.
No, but I appreciate
so
it,
nice
man. To kind of quote from Field of Dreams, I think it was Archie Graham when it was like, ease his pain. You're easing my pain, and I appreciate it. But so go ahead and keep that tournament the way it is on our Facebook page, and don't touch anything. It's fine just the way it is, Goose.
Big Ten overrated, perhaps.
Well,
maybe
let's
in
relax.
The
Brett, it's one game. Relax, dude.
We'll find out.
Okay.
Although Michigan State lost last night,
Yeah,
SEC's got Tennessee losing right now. So some of these big SEC got Arkansas though and Florida already with winners. We'll see what happens.
Brent, did you see Tom Izzo with Michigan State at halftime?
Yeah, how about that?
We got to talk about that a little bit. I feel.
Yeah,
like.
in fact, I got a couple topics. That and how about the difference between the women's and the men's?
Oh man,
did you see that?
Yeah.
And is that as big a story as it should be?
Yeah.
We'll talk about it. Coming up, Action Sports Jacks on ESPN 690.
Now, the First Alert forecast on ESPN 690.
Mostly sunny skies continue this afternoon. Temperatures in the upper 60s to near 70 degrees, then falling into the low to mid 60s for nighttime plans, so you'll need some jackets. Overnight lows about 50 degrees. Becoming mostly cloudy for Saturday, though. Breezy, very cool, with a few scattered showers, especially closer to the coast. It'll be windy at the beaches in the 50s there and low 60s inland. With your First Alert forecast, I'm Action News Jax meteorologist Garrett Biedenball.
The Weather Center is brought to you by Beard's Diamonds, where right now you can get 5 years, zero interest financing with nothing down.
Hello, you have reached the Crooks or Us training helpline. Today we're explaining the term verified alarm to all you newbies out there.
Oh, boss, I can explain that. A verified alarm just means that whatever caused the security system alarm to go off has been verified.
Correct. And what alarm company is known for providing the fastest verified alarms?
Safe Touch Security.
Exactly. Because Safe Touch has the two-way communicator, which leads to alarm verification within seconds.
And alarm verification is very bad for us crooks.
Yeah, unlike a non-verified alarm that police label a low priority.
Like right below getting grandma's cat out of a tree low.
So, to sum up, verified alarms. Just one more reason we crooks have the golden rule, stay away from Safe Touch houses. Remember that, and you'll be fine.
Yeah, kitty.
Only one security system is truly the best. Hi, I'm Lester Jackson, president of Safe Touch Security Systems. No one beats our technology or our price.
Call Safe Touch today at 888-723-8682 or go to safetouch.com. State license number EF233.
Shred your goals this year with the new Metabolism Boost Banana Passion Fruit Smoothie from Smoothie King. At only 240 calories and 14 grams of protein per 20 ounces, this crave-controlling meal smoothie has non-GMO whole fruits, naturally derived caffeine, and absolutely no syrups. Or try strawberry pineapple or mango ginger. Start your healthier habit and order online at smoothieking.com. Now for pickup or delivery at any of the Jacksonville area locations. Smoothie King, rule the day.
In Florida, it's not if the storms are coming, it's when the storms are coming. And that's why you need the Chief. Jacksonville's chief meteorologist, Mike Burrish, with a proven track record of keeping local families safe. Rain, heat, hurricanes, flooding, tornadoes. We get it all. Just more reasons why you need the Chief. Chief Meteorologist Mike Burrish, backed by the First Alert Weather Team. Only on CBS 47 and Fox 30 Action News Jax.
Is your home not feeling very new anymore? Sick of that pink bathroom tile, popcorn ceilings, a stove older than you are? Whether it's repairs or reno, finance it smart with a Honeydew HELOC from 1-to-1 Financial, Jacksonville's hometown credit union, where you can borrow up to 90% of your home's appraised value. You've got good taste, but your block counters ain't cheap. So get to work and open a Honeydew HELOC with 1-to-1 Financial. When you do, we'll send you a free handyman tool set to get started. Apply online at 121fcu.org. Federally insured by NCUA.
No matter what you are driving, you can step up to luxury now at any of the Fields Auto Group dealerships in Jacksonville. Cadillac, Jaguar, Land Rover, Lexus, Mercedes-Benz, and Porsche. Yes, it's luxury for less at all Fields Auto Group locations in Jacksonville. Plus, you'll also be part of their exclusive Fields Amenities program, where you will get complimentary loaners, car washes, and cafes. So whatever you're driving, see Fields first and step up to luxury for less during this amazing opportunity. Visit fieldsauto.com.
This message is sponsored by the Florida Long-Term Care Ombudsman Program, the Florida Association of Broadcasters, and this radio station. My name is Deborah. I serve as a district manager for the Florida Long-Term Care Ombudsman Program. I am passionate about helping others and advocating to protect the quality of life and the rights for those who many times cannot help themselves. You can make a difference in someone's life today. Visit us at ombudsman.myflorida.com to learn more.
I should have my kid tell you about Jumpin' Jack's House of Food. It's Ty's favorite burger in town. Make it one of your favorites as well. Jumpin' Jack's House of Food has 3 locations now: Atlantic Beach, Mandarin, and downtown Jacksonville. Change your life burgers. But they have salads, pizza, and much more on the menu, too. Let Jumpin' Jack's House of Food be your great neighbor. Lunch or dinner with the family, or they will cater parties from 200 to 500 people. Jumpin' Jack's, HOF.com for online ordering. Jumpin' Jack's House of Food, open 7 days a week.
The only thing worse than hiring no law firm after your injury is hiring the wrong law firm. When thousands of people call us every year asking to help them change law firms, I wonder why they ever call the other firm. When you're fighting to get what you deserve, it's go big or go home. We are big for a reason, which is why we've recovered over $9 billion for our clients. When it comes to law, size matters. We're America's largest injury law firm, Morgan & Morgan. Visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Austin Lane from Action Sports Jax on ESPN 690. Smart speakers are becoming part of everyday life, so why not use it to listen to the radio? Tell Alexa, Google Home, or any other speaker to play ESPN 690. Give it a shot weekday afternoons from 3 to 6.
The Max Kellerman Show.
The Nets started out the season without James Harden, who's their second best player, and then have played recently without Kevin Durant, who's their best player. Also, when Kyrie joined the team, he and Harden had to figure things out. There was an adjustment period. And so the Nets' record does not reflect, their entire record does not reflect the team they've become.
The Max Kellerman Show, weekdays at 2 Eastern on ESPN Radio. Watch exclusively on ESPN+.
Brent Martineau.
Never heard of what happened in Iowa yesterday, and I don't even know how to pronounce the name of it. Derecho.
Austin Lane.
Iowa State Cyclones. Should call them the Derechos. You can shorten it up, call them the Chos. Why not, man? I'm into it.
Action Sports Jax on ESPN 690.
We have 2 different style tight ends. One is a Y, which is an on the line, basically an extension of your offense line, a very good blocker, but also very functional. In the pass game, we identified a guy, had him top of the list, and that's Manhertz, and we got him. I've not met him yet. He's coming in today, but we all are extremely excited about him. He was exactly what we wanted, and we got him. The next one is the F, the primary pass catcher, but also a functional blocker. We have not addressed that. O'Shaughnessy on our, 2 years ago, O'Shaughnessy had a good year, showed a lot of potential. Obviously had an ACL injury. He's been in here training. I've gotten to know him, really enjoy being around him. So we're counting on him, but we have not finalized that piece of the puzzle yet. The Y part, we all feel extremely strong about Manhertz.
Well, there's the explanation in the tight end room from Urban Meyer. They've got work to do. I mean, listen, they're not dynamic there. And in this day and age, certainly blocking is still a value. But you better be able to catch the ball at the tight end position, help your quarterback out, become dynamic in your offense. The Jags just aren't there yet. That's just simple. They certainly need to try to get better there, and maybe the draft is the next route unless they make a trade for somebody in the meantime. I asked for grades on the draft. Austin said B. I would agree with him, right around a B. I think you can even make the case it's a little bit of a B- because of the disappointment of not getting anybody in the tight end room. Josh says B. Refreshing to see they didn't go insane with the money, and despite that they seem to sign good quality guys. Glaring issue, obviously, tight end, but something tells me there's a plan. Brown says C+. Herbs filled some holes. Depth. Haven't seen him smile so much in years since he became a coach. Trevor Lawrence Haver, B- grade. A frontline tight end and some edge depth, and it's an A. So tight end, some edge depth, it's an A. Dilla, he says he'd give him 4 out of 5 of his favorite emoji these days. I don't know what that emoji is in terms of description.
You don't know. we can't talk about it.
I can't. Is it a new
talk.
emoji? Oh, now I'm looking a little closer. Is this the emoji that he put all over the place, like in Duval and all that stuff, like earlier in the week?
Let's just say that it is an emoji that is sweeping the nation. Well, more specifically, it's sweeping the city right now. Eventually, is going to sweep the nation. Eventually, to the world. It is that emoji.
It's an emoji that we can't give the full description?
It's the face of satisfaction.
Oh, yeah.
Why? Hey, Barry White, why'd you just make that voice? What was that? What were you doing?
Just was doing that. Rewind,
Yeah,
Jackson.
I know you were.
Totally underrated results. Keen effort, yielded tireless workers, explosive, eager talents, further options, realistic, enticing. Very excited, really. Wow, Rewind, Jacks. A+. And even tagged Fournette, John Shipley, and Smitter in the tweet.
Wow. A+, huh?
Random Letter says B. Would have been an A if we got one of the top tight ends. January 6th was a trial run. That's I don't know if I think that's in reference to something that I should not be referencing. They addressed the biggest weakness with the most efficiency on the team. Solid B. So looks like B's around most of the way. One very excited A+. But no way you can give this an A+ without a tight end. And probably can't even sneak into the A column without the tight end. So some pretty good grades overall. I don't think there's major disappointment, and I don't think people are throwing up parades or any on the free agency front. Hey, did you see the tweet by one of the women's basketball players and about the setup with the weight room, and then somebody else, I think this was a real tweet. You got to check yourself all the time, especially if you're just glancing through. But with the food setup as well for the men versus the women. But let's just go with the weight room tweet. And I guess the NCAA, there was like this just small little rack of weights, right, for the women's side. And there was this huge convention center full of weights for the men's teams.
Yeah, I mean they had squat cages, they had everything, anything that you would find in a high level weight room. And the women only had yoga mats and a couple of dumbbells. And that's not exaggeration. That's exactly what they had.
And that's wrong, by the way. And I guess the explanation it was a TikTok video that ended up on Twitter by the one player was this was they said that there wasn't enough space to give them more weights. Well, then she panned the room and there's plenty of space. So this is, gender equity has been a big thing in the NCAA and obviously Title IX and in high schools and everywhere. But it's a bad look for the NCAA, don't you think?
It's a horrible look for the NCAA. Brent, it always baffles me, and it always amazes me that what were they thinking when they put this together? Like, somebody had to be in those meetings when they're setting up, these quarantine bubbles and getting ready for the tournament. Hey, let's go ahead and give the guys every single weight that we can. And for the women, yoga mats and dumbbells. Somebody didn't say something? And especially in these times where TikTok and Instagram and Facebook Live and all this stuff are so prevalent, you didn't foresee this backlash coming? What are you doing, NCAA? And I get, okay, let's be honest here. The men's tournament is going to draw a lot more money than the women's tournament. And that's what kind of what the argument is right now.
Yeah.
And on that I call BS, because that doesn't even matter to me. And if the NCAA's main objective and their main goal is to take care of the athletes and look out for the athletes, how is this doing either of those things right now?
Well, here's the deal, Austin, too. Listen, I'll come with you on, let's not, if you want you got to be careful with equity and same exact everything when obviously the men's NCAA tournament is raking in millions and billions of dollars, right? I mean, just a ton of money. So it's a totally different standpoint there when you talk about men's NCAA tournament, the kind of the value of it versus what the women's tournament brings in. But that's not what this is about. This is about, the student athlete. This is about that NCAA tournament, because it does so well, helps so many other student athletes on campuses all across the country. And it should help male student athletes and women student athletes. This is exactly what you said. This is a tone-deaf kind of view of the setup, and somebody screwed it up. And it wasn't that hard. Like, they brought this upon themselves. So this is like saying, hey, women's basketball doesn't bring as much in, so we're not going to play with 2 rims. We're just going to do half court.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what you're talking about. Facilities. You're talking about there were 8 weights on that rack, I think it was. How are people supposed to work out? How are people supposed to get ready to go? And also, I guess it was kind of sexist in the way that, hey, women don't need weights. Like, they don't lift weights, It's a really bad look by the NCAA. I don't even know. I haven't seen if it's been remedied. I'm sure it has after this thing has gone viral and everybody's talking about it. But bad job by the NCAA in that respect. Another big talker yesterday was Tom Izzo, Michigan State, going into the locker room with a player at halftime and a little bit of an altercation. I think this one got a little bit blown out of proportion, Austin.
Yeah.
I don't know how you view it,
yeah.
But if you look at some of the reaction from former players that played for Izzo, even Draymond Green, I think tweeted something to the effect of, hey, just another Michigan State player coach.
Well, yeah, and I think he said
exchange.
That's what winning looks like too. That's what a winning exchange looks like, or something like that.
Yeah, and what's interesting here is there wasn't. I think there was a little bit of physical in this, where it's like kind of a, hey, come back over here.
Yeah.
This wasn't like a shove or anything out of bounds in my estimation. But what was interesting is how the player really went back after verbally to Izzo. And I think you can make the case that's something that Izzo welcomes in his culture. Like, hey, if we got to get into it, we got to get into it. You're a man, I'm a man type of thing. I don't know that. I'm not inside his program. But based off the reaction, I think that's kind of what I took out of it, is that, hey, he's okay if you challenge him on things. But be ready for him to get into you now if he doesn't agree with you. So you can take it, but he can give it, but he can also take it a little bit. And so that was kind of my perception of that. I think this is a world now where things like this really blow up, and we know that. And there's been instances, by the way, where it does cross the line. I just don't think I put this Tom Izzo exchange in that category.
Yeah, I understand where, this is a big thing on social media right now. And for those people who – they haven't been in a competitive college locker room, like, they see that, and it's hard to understand. And I absolutely see that side of it, because if you don't have any kind of explanation of what's going on, you just see that video. You see this older gentleman running up to the player and essentially like kind of pulling him from behind, and then it looks like they're going to throw fists. Like, yeah, that's an aggressive look, and it could be bad optics. But I have been in a college locker room, and I do see how these things transpire. This is the classic example of a family, right? And I'll never forget, Joe Cullen used to always say this, and I might have mentioned this before a little bit. Joe Cullen, one of the very first meetings that we sat down there in Jacksonville, Joe Cullen says that we don't break it down on family, we break it down on brotherhood, because we're not a family. And like, he drove that point home. Like, we're not a family. I'm like, we're not a family. I mean, I've been breaking family down for, like, that's what we broke it down in high school and in college. But he made a fantastic point. And he said, when you're professional and, you talk about a family, you drag the weakest one with you. That's how usually a family works. If you have a weak link, it doesn't matter. They're your family. They're your blood. You drag them with. If you have a weak link in an NFL locker room, you cut them. You let them go, and it is what it is. So that's why he was so adamant about calling it a brotherhood. I think collegiate sports, whether it's basketball or football, that is more of a family, where sometimes you got to take the weakest link a little bit. And if you know anything about families fight, man. I grew up an only child, but I have plenty of friends that are brothers, and I saw them, throw fisticuffs, if you will. So that, to me, Tom Izzo going toe-to-toe with this player, and I don't think they're going to come close to blows or anything, but having that verbal argument, that physical kind of natured argument, that's a family right there, man. That's what families do.
I've even seen it in this business. And I've been fortunate enough, if I get something I got to get off my chest to like a boss, a news director, they'll let me do it.
Okay.
And that's good. Not physically like that, but they'll let you get a little loud. You can kind of do something that you wouldn't maybe do to somebody else you don't know very well or not working with, but somebody in a higher up position. And there's just some folks you can do that with and some you can't. But I love when they allow you to do that, man. Then you can take a breath and then figure out exactly where you want to go from there after. Yeah. But it's the one thing you forget sometimes is that these are young men. I mean, they're men now, Yeah. They're not like 12-year-old kids. Yeah. And it's the same thing like in a workplace, I believe. It's like we're all adults. Don't sit here and yell at me like I'm like a 12-year-old. I'm not.
Listen, I mean, hey, I'm all for yelling. That's cool that they let you do that. I'm just going to tell you, if you do that to me, though, careful. Okay?
Come on.
I'm just saying,
hey,
Brent.
1, 2, 3, Brotherhood.
Brent, careful.
We'll be back. Careful. Action Sports Jags. Break them down. Jags on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Chiefs.
Hey, Austin, you're in Kansas City,
Chiefs,
my friend.
Yeah, that's right.
We'll be back from the state of Florida next on ESPN 690.
ESPN 690 SportsCenter update.
Happy Friday. I'm Jake Mitchell. Houston Texans quarterback Deshaun Watson is facing a third allegation of sexual misconduct. The first 2 accusations are linked to civil suits, but the woman's attorney, Tony Busby, says that he has been in contact with the police and, quote, will be sending them a package with info on the cases. Busby also says that there are a total of 9 cases so far, and these are just the first 3 to come forward. Here's Adam Schefter, ESPN NFL insider, with an update.
And when we talk about teams that would be interested in Deshaun Watson, I think that they also are monitoring the situation, gathering information. They will be in consultation with the NFL office, but I don't think that this is going to deter anybody's interest in Deshaun Watson if they are or considering a trade for him.
Keelan Cole, Jags' former wide receiver, has moved on to the Big Apple and the New York Jets, signing a 1-year, $5.5 million deal. The Sports Center Update is brought to you by Morgan & Morgan. Morgan & Morgan, for the people.
This is Greeny with Mike Greenberg.
J.J. Watt, interesting choice. Imagine the conversation we're having today if he signed in Green Bay. Instead, he goes to Arizona, signs to play in the best division in football. Are they the 4th best team in that division? Could be. He went to the place that had the salary cap space to afford him. And again, that's not a criticism. It's just a simple statement of fact.
Greeny with Mike Greenberg. Weekday mornings at 10 Eastern on ESPN Radio. And watch exclusively on ESPN Plus.
Hey, boss, how's it going?
How's it going? Oh, let me tell you how it's going. So far this year, I've broken my pinky toe, had a flat tire, and currently I'm trying to pass a kidney stone the size of Rhode Island.
Well, karma strikes again.
What?
Nothing. Oh, look, it's the first Crooks R Us survey of 2021. They're asking crooks like us to list the top reasons we avoid safe touch houses.
There's the crash and smash technology, the video monitoring.
Yeah, but what's number 1?
Gotta be the two-way communicator.
That's what I said.
Oh, yeah. The two-way communicator leads to verified alarms, which lead to faster response times, which are all very bad for us crooks.
Which all just circles back to the Crooks R Us golden rule. Stay away from safe touch houses.
Yeah, thanks, Captain Obvious.
Crooks know to stay away from Safe Touch houses. Hi, I'm Lester Jackson, president of Safe Touch Security Systems. No one beats our technology or our price.
Call Safe Touch today at 888-723-8682 or go to safetouch.com. State license number EF233.
CGC Water has been telling you if you're not filtering your water, you are the filter. Still not a believer? Well, you can believe me. My family has been a happy CGC Water customer for 4 years now. Customer service is tremendous. We got our water tested. We were told about our options in financing in detail. No pressure, just information. Installation was quick, and the CGC team was there every step of the way. And we absolutely love it because it works. Heck, I even think my coffee tastes better because of it. And I love my coffee. A Kinetico system from CGC Water removes up to 99% of contaminants. That's clean. Schedule your free water test today and ask how you can save up to $500. CGC is still taking extra precautions with in-home visits and continuing to follow CDC guidelines. Financing available with approved credit. Call 904-552-1242 for details or visit cgcwater.com. Serving Northeast Florida and Southeast Georgia. CGC Water Treatment, your local independent Connecticut dealer.
Life is complicated. We all know it, and all can use the proper support system. You know what else can be complicated? Owning a home. And that's why Rex was built to go beyond the simple real estate transaction. Full-service agents for buying and selling, mortgage services, insurance quotes, escrow and title, even home repair, all one call away. I guess you could call Rex your home support system and not a typical brokerage. Call 833-REX-HOME. That's 833-739-4663. Want more? Of course you do. With all that convenience comes reduced fees too. In fact, the average Rex homeowner saves over $10,000 when buying and selling a home. Want to get started? It's never too soon. Call 833-REX-HOME. That's 833-739-4663. 833-739-4663. Florida license number CQ1057788. For further licensing disclosures, please visit rexhomes.com.
Ever finally get around to trying something and it's so much better than you expected? Where you're mentally kicking yourself for not doing it sooner or wondering where it's been your whole life? That's how Griffin customers feel about their Florida-rated AC. They even tell me,
we're never going back to regular AC.
And it's the same for our Florida-rated water heaters, too. It's so much better, our customers wonder why no one told them about it before. Well, we fix what others can't. Tired of having to run a shower or faucet for 3 minutes before you actually get hot water? We can fix that.
Nice.
Tired of Jacksonville's swampy hard water hurting your appliances and hair? We can fix it.
Naturally.
Tired of a tank water heater going bad every 5 to 8 years or running out of hot water?
Yep.
Griffin can fix that big time.
Oh, yeah. I never knew I could have hot water as soon as I turn on the tap.
And my hair could be so much healthier. And my appliances can last longer.
Well, you can, but only if you call
GriffinService.com.
1430-261-1250-697. There is a taste of the islands in every drop of Vida de Luis tequila, imported directly from Tequila, Mexico to Jacksonville Beach. Vida de Luis is the only locally owned tequila in Jax Beach. Support local and try Vida de Luis. Award-winning, smooth, all natural, no aldehydes or additives, which means wake up feeling good the next morning. Find out where you can pick up a bottle of Vida de Luis, Blanco, Reposado, or Añejo. Just visit VitaDeLuis.com. Support local and taste the islands in every drop.
If you're usually listening to ESPN 690 in your car, but your boss has you working from home this week, well, take us with you. Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Austin Lane from ESPN 690 and Action Sports Jax. Tell Amazon Echo or Google Home, play ESPN 690, and enjoy all that sweet listening coverage.
Speed's something I've always believed in. Philip Dorsett answers that question. His production, he can challenge, which I will challenge. I haven't really met him yet. I see him, I believe, today. But he's blessed with incredible physical qualities. Catches the ball well on top of the fact he's has great speed. So we addressed that need, and we're still not done, in my mind, addressing that. But the one position I've been pleased with, and I actually, when I first started watching the Jaguars, DJ Chark and LaVisca are two guys that I think you can build. They're young. I've spent a lot of time with them. They've been in to see me. They're anxious. They're ready to go. I hired an excellent receiver coach in Sanjay Lal. That position is going to be a huge part of our offense. And we felt, we didn't make a run, or at least look at that whole, because there are some very good players out there, but once again, you start looking at the value, which is a term that I've learned to really appreciate value, the value players, and I think Marvin's extremely high value for how we came across that.
Yeah, the Jaguars tried to do that in free agency. None of these 60, 70, 80, $90 million contracts that we've seen in the past. Instead, we're talking more $35 to $40 million deals, $24 million deal, a little moderate deal with Marvin Jones at the receiver position. One thing struck me today listening to Urban Meyer and seeing what he has to say, especially in that kind of context. You just heard that, one of the reactions from today's Breakfast with Urban here on a Friday to recap free agency week. Austin, he's a guy, and all coaches feel this way, but he's a guy because he has the pedigree of it and a track record of it, and he's proven that he can, that he is now like, I can take a player that maybe hasn't played as good as people think he has over the last couple of years, and I can make him play his best football. And I think that's a coach's confidence anyway, but I think it's tenfold with Urban Meyer. I took that out of kind of the Dorsett signing and the explanation. Yeah. It's like, you watch, I'll make this guy even better than he's been.
Yeah, I mean that's one of the big reason why guys choose to be coaches. It's maximizing the talent that you have, and there's nothing more rewarding than being a coach at any level. And you take a guy who maybe people are sleeping on a little bit, and you turn that guy into the best version of himself. That's the whole point of coaching, and I think that's what Urban Meyer is into doing, as he should be. That's where the key phrase value keeps coming into play. So yeah, it'll definitely be some guys to watch here. When you talk about Dorsett, he's a guy who's had some injuries. He's kind of an afterthought, I feel like, of this free agency. If we're being honest, I think Carlos Hyde can kind of fit that mold a little bit too. But who knows? Can Urban Meyer bring out the best of these guys? I think if we're sitting here, Brent, in the next, let's say 6-7 months, and we're talking about, wow, Carlos Hyde or, one of these receivers, and I guess Marvin Jones doesn't really fit the mold because he still has high expectations. But if we're fitting the other guys are saying, wow, these guys are playing really well. They're a key contributor to this team. I think we're saying that. And then obviously we're praising Urban Meyer for the job that he's done on this team.
C.J. Beathard do anything for you? Jaguars hosting a free agent tryout with quarterback C.J. Beathard.
Hey, Trevor Lawrence, shut it down right now. We got C.J. Beathard. I didn't even consider that option, Brent. Yeah, sign him up right now. Let's go. Trevor, we'll see you later. Thanks for stopping by. No, it doesn't do anything for me.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to keep an eye on these quarterbacks. There's not a lot of talk about Alex Smith lately around the NFL, right? It's pretty quiet on that front, too. I haven't seen much with Alex Smith. Do you think he ends up landing a backup role, or not maybe here, but anywhere, or is it going to be a chance to start?
I think the chances to start are very limited. He was my favorite to go to Chicago. They got Andy Dalton. If he wants to keep on playing, Brett, we don't know if he still wants to play either. Maybe he's done,
Hey, Shock Your Mock season starts on Monday. Send them in, hashtag Shock Your Mock, so we can find them and get ready to be ripped. I'm wearing the T-shirt. We're going to give away some T-shirts. So, any other parameters, Austin?
Just make sure you don't get your feelings hurt too much, because I'm going to be ruthless this year, all right? And I have to be, guys. I do it out of love. But it's going to be a hard process. It's going to be a rough process, and only a select few are going to make it through to the very end. This is like Bud's training in the Navy SEALs.
Oral Roberts beats Ohio State. FSU goes tomorrow on ESPN 690. Enjoy the tournament. I'm going to do some emoji homework as well. Have a good weekend, everybody. Live, local, loud coming up next.
Men, do you feel embarrassed in the bedroom because of ED or PE? Would you like to be the man you used to be? Prime Men's Medical Center has the solution. 98% of their patients experience a positive result from the treatment in just 10 minutes.